What if Darkseid chosen Anakin forged a dark empire? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. Anakin Skywalker killed them both. Not just Palpatine, not just Mace Windu, both of them, in the same moment, with the same blade. And then he took the throne for himself. No master, no order, no chains, just pure, unlimited power in the hands of the most dangerous man the galaxy has ever produced. This is the story of how the Chosen One became the Emperor, how the boy who dreamed of freeing slaves became the ultimate slaver, how one decision in the Chancellor's office created a dark empire that would bring the galaxy to its knees. But here's what makes this terrifying. He didn't fall to the dark side like Palpatine wanted. He didn't become another Sith apprentice, another pawn in someone else's game. He transcended both paths entirely. He became something the galaxy had never seen before, and no one was prepared for what came next. It begins in that office. The sunset bleeds across Coruscant's skyline. Mace Windu stands with his violet blade at Palpatine's throat. The Sith Lord's face is twisted and scarred. 3 Jedi Masters lie dead on the floor. And Anakin Skywalker stands frozen between 2 futures, his heart pounding, his mind racing, his hand drifting toward his lightsaber. Palpatine begs for salvation. He speaks of Padme, of saving her from death, of secrets only the Sith possess. Each word is calculated. Each syllable pulls at Anakin's fear. Windu demands obedience. He commands Anakin to stand aside. He pronounces judgment with the absolute certainty of a Jedi Master who has never doubted himself. And in that moment, looking at both of them, Anakin sees the truth. Palpatine is a manipulator who has orchestrated a galactic war. Windu is a zealot who has never trusted him, never believed in him, never seen him as anything more than a weapon to be controlled. Neither of them deserves to survive this moment. Neither of them will. His lightsaber ignites in a blur of blue fire. Mace Windu's eyes widen. For just an instant, he believes Anakin has chosen Palpatine after all. He's wrong. Anakin's blade sweeps in a perfect arc, not toward Windu's weapon arm, but across his chest. The attack comes from an angle the Jedi Master never anticipated. The violet blade falls from nerveless fingers. Mace Windu crumples to the polished floor. Palpatine's cackle of triumph dies in his throat. He barely has time to register what has happened before Anakin is already turning, already moving, already driving his blade through the heart of the most powerful Sith Lord in 1,000 years. No hesitation, no dramatic pause, no moment of doubt, just the cold efficiency of a warrior who has finally understood his true purpose. 2 bodies fall. The Chancellor's office holds only corpses and silence, and Anakin Skywalker stands alone, his lightsaber still ignited, feeling something he has never felt before in his entire life. Freedom. The Force swirls around him in ways it never has before. Always, since he was a child, Anakin has felt the presence of light and darkness as separate currents, pulling him in opposite directions. The Jedi taught him to embrace the light and reject the darkness. Palpatine whispered that the darkness was his true nature. Both were wrong. Standing here, having destroyed representatives of both paths, Anakin feels something entirely new. The currents no longer pull him apart. They flow through him together, balanced, unified, complete. This is what the prophecy meant. This is what he was born to do. Not to serve the light or the darkness, but to transcend both. To become something that has never existed before. A being who wields the full power of the Force without being enslaved to either of its aspects. The Chosen One was never meant to be a Jedi or a Sith. The Chosen One was meant to be something greater than either. The realization fills him with a certainty that borders on ecstasy. Every doubt he has ever felt, every moment of confusion about his place in the galaxy, every sleepless night wondering if he was good enough, or strong enough, or pure enough, all of it dissolves in the light of this new understanding. He is exactly what he was always meant to be. And now, finally, he can begin the work he was born to do. Through the shattered windows, he can see Republic gunships rushing toward the Senate building. Sirens wail across the cityscape. The battle in the Chancellor's office generated enough noise and light to attract attention. And now, the machinery of government is responding. Anakin has perhaps 10 minutes before this room fills with guards, officials, and questions he will need to answer carefully. He moves with purpose now, his mind already racing through the steps he needs to take. First, secure Palpatine's assets. Second, control the narrative. Third, consolidate power before anyone can organize opposition. The war has taught him many things, and chief among them is this: he who acts fastest wins. The Separatists always moved too slowly, deliberated too long, allowed the Republic to seize the initiative. Anakin will not make that mistake. He deactivates his weapon and takes a moment to survey the destruction. Shattered windows let in the dying light of sunset. Scorch marks from Force lightning scar the walls and floor. The bodies of 2 Titans lie crumpled like discarded puppets. And Anakin feels something he has never felt before in his entire life. Freedom, true freedom. Not the hollow promise of it that the Jedi offered, bound by their code and their council. Not the chains disguised as power that Palpatine dangled before him, but actual, genuine freedom to shape his own destiny. He knows he needs to move quickly. The sounds of battle, the flashes of lightning, someone will have noticed. Guards will be coming. Questions will be asked. But Anakin has been a general for 3 years. He knows how to control a battlefield, how to shape a narrative, how to turn chaos into opportunity. He steps over Palpatine's body and moves to the Chancellor's private terminal, the one that required biometric access that no one else in the galaxy possessed. Now it lies open, its owner's cooling hand still within reach of the scanner. The files he finds there take his breath away. Palpatine was meticulous. Every scheme, every manipulation, every thread of the vast web he had woven across the galaxy, all of it documented in encrypted files that Anakin now possesses the keys to unlock. He sees the truth of the Clone Wars laid bare, how Palpatine orchestrated both sides, feeding intelligence to the Separatists while guiding the Republic's response. He sees the names of senators who have been bought, blackmailed, or compromised. He sees the hidden accounts containing wealth beyond imagination, siphoned from military budgets and emergency funds over 2 decades of preparation. And then he finds Order 66. The documentation is extensive, running to hundreds of pages of technical specifications, psychological conditioning protocols, and implementation procedures. Anakin reads through it all, his horror gradually transforming into something else entirely. Palpatine was a monster, yes, but he was also a genius. The clone army, which everyone believed was a tool of the Republic, was actually a weapon pointed at the Republic's heart. Every trooper who had ever fought beside a Jedi, every soldier who had ever called a Jedi general friend, was carrying a biological bomb in their brain. At the utterance of 2 words, they would transform from loyal allies into implacable executioners. The scale of the deception is breathtaking. For 3 years, the Jedi have been commanding an army that was designed to destroy them. They trusted these soldiers with their lives, formed bonds with them, mourned when they fell in battle. And all that time, the clones were simply waiting for the command that would turn them into weapons. It is monstrous. It is brilliant. And now, it belongs to Anakin. He considers destroying the files, disabling the chips, ensuring that such a horror can never come to pass. That would be the moral thing to do, the Jedi thing. But Anakin is thinking strategically now, thinking like the ruler he is becoming, rather than the servant he was. An army that follows orders without question is an invaluable asset. The inhibitor chips do not have to be used for their original purpose. They can be reprogrammed, repurposed, turned to serve whatever ends Anakin chooses. And even if he never activates them, simply knowing they exist gives him leverage that no one else possesses. He copies the Order 66 files to a secure device and buries them in layers of encryption that only he can unlock. Then he continues exploring Palpatine's digital legacy, each new discovery adding to the picture of absolute power that is taking shape in his mind. There are files on every member of the Jedi Council, dossiers compiled over decades of careful observation. Weaknesses, fears, attachments the Order forbids, all of it documented and analyzed. Yoda's growing uncertainty about the war, Mace Windu's barely concealed ambition, Obi-Wan's attachment to his former apprentice. Palpatine knew these things because he made it his business to know, and now that knowledge belongs to Anakin. There are accounts of Palpatine's dealings with the criminal underworld, relationships with Black Sun, the Hutts, the Pike Syndicate. The Chancellor presented himself as a paragon of law and order, but behind the scenes, he worked with the galaxy's worst elements whenever it served his purposes. These connections could be invaluable for an aspiring emperor who needs eyes and ears in places the Republic's official apparatus cannot reach. There are records of secret prisons, black sites where enemies of Palpatine disappeared without trial or record, political opponents who asked too many questions, journalists who got too close to the truth, Jedi who stumbled onto fragments of the conspiracy. All of them vanished into facilities that officially do not exist, their fates unknown even to their families. Anakin makes note of these locations. The prisoners themselves are probably dead by now, but the infrastructure could be useful. And there are the financial records, the hidden accounts spread across 1,000 worlds under 1,000 different names. Credits enough to fund armies, buy governments, reshape the economic landscape of entire sectors. Palpatine had been siphoning funds from the Republic treasury for decades, building a personal fortune that dwarfs most planetary economies. Now, all of it belongs to Anakin. Anakin reads the details of the contingency order with growing horror and fascination. Every clone trooper in the Grand Army of the Republic has been programmed with an inhibitor chip, a biological switch that, when activated, would compel absolute obedience to specific commands. Order 66 would designate all Jedi as traitors to the Republic, to be executed immediately without trial or hesitation. Palpatine had planned to eliminate the entire Jedi Order in a single, coordinated strike, using the very army that fought alongside them. But now, those codes belong to Anakin. He sits back in Palpatine's chair, his mind racing with possibilities. He could destroy this information. He could delete the files, disable the chips, ensure that such an atrocity could never occur. That would be the Jedi thing to do, the moral thing. But Anakin is no longer thinking like a Jedi. He's thinking like a ruler. And a ruler recognizes the value of having an army that will follow orders without question. The doors to the office burst open, and a squad of Senate guards rushes in with weapons drawn. They freeze at the sight before them, the dead Chancellor, the dead Jedi Master, and Anakin Skywalker sitting calmly at the central desk, as if he belongs there. For a long moment, no one moves. Then Anakin rises smoothly, his expression grave, his voice steady. He tells them that there has been an attack. A Sith Lord, hidden in plain sight for decades, finally revealed himself. The Chancellor was Darth Sidious, the puppet master behind the entire separatist movement. He attempted to corrupt Anakin to the dark side, and when that failed, he killed Master Windu. Anakin was forced to strike him down in defense of the Republic. It is a tragedy, a shock. But the threat has been eliminated. The guards don't know what to make of this. Their training tells them to secure the scene, to call for backup, to treat everyone present as a potential threat until cleared. But this is Anakin Skywalker, the hero with no fear, the most celebrated general of the Clone Wars. His face is on recruitment posters across the galaxy. Children play with action figures bearing his likeness. To point a weapon at him feels almost sacrilegious. Anakin uses their hesitation expertly. He issues commands with the easy authority of someone born to lead. Secure the perimeter. Summon the Jedi Council. Contact the Senate leadership. And above all, ensure that no information about what happened here leaves this room until a proper statement can be prepared. The guards obey. Of course they obey. In times of crisis, people cling to authority, and Anakin projects authority like a star projects light. Over the next 3 hours, Anakin orchestrates the most important performance of his life. He meets with the surviving members of the Jedi Council in the Chancellor's ruined office, standing among the carnage as he recounts his version of events. Master Yoda listens with those ancient eyes that have seen so much, and Anakin can feel him probing with the Force, searching for deception. But Anakin has learned much in his years of war and politics, and he shields his thoughts with walls of genuine emotion, the shock of discovery, the grief of losing a mentor figure, the righteous anger at being manipulated for so long. These feelings are real, even if the narrative around them is not. Ki-Adi-Mundi asks pointed questions about the sequence of events. Anakin answers with military precision, describing how Palpatine revealed his true nature, how he attempted to seduce Anakin with promises of power, how he attacked when Anakin refused. The story has just enough truth woven through it to feel authentic. Yes, Palpatine spoke of saving Padme. Yes, he offered to teach Anakin secrets of the Force. Yes, the confrontation turned violent. Anakin simply omits the part where he killed them both by choice, rather than necessity. The physical evidence supports his account. Palpatine's face, twisted and scarred by his own Sith lightning, reveals the dark side corruption he had hidden for so long. His lightsaber, a crimson blade concealed within his desk, confirms his identity as a Sith Lord. The communications in his files, now carefully curated by Anakin before anyone else could access them, show connections to separatist leadership that paint a damning picture. Even Mace Windu's wounds upon examination appear consistent with lightsaber strikes from a seated position, suggesting Palpatine attacked first. It's almost too easy. Yoda remains troubled. The ancient master has lived for nearly 9 centuries, and his instincts scream that something is wrong. But he cannot pinpoint what. Anakin's Force presence is turbulent, yes, but that is understandable given the circumstances. The evidence is overwhelming, and perhaps most importantly, the alternative, that the Chosen One murdered 2 of the most powerful beings in the galaxy in cold blood, is simply too horrific to contemplate. So Yoda accepts the story, even as doubt gnaws at his ancient heart. Some truths are too terrible to face head-on. The Senate is even easier to convince. When Anakin stands before them the following morning, his robe still bearing traces of ash from the Chancellor's office, he speaks not as a Jedi, but as a fellow servant of the Republic. He describes the moment of revelation, the horror of discovering that the man they all trusted had been their greatest enemy all along. He praises the courage of Mace Windu, who gave his life to expose this threat. He mourns the loss of a mentor figure, the Chancellor who had guided his career since he was a young Padawan. And he calls upon the Senate to remain strong, to stay united, to see this war through to its conclusion. His performance is masterful, honed by years of war and politics, and the desperate need to survive in an environment that never fully accepted him. He plays to the senators' fears, reminding them how close they came to catastrophe. He plays to their pride, praising their wisdom in establishing the institutions that allowed the conspiracy to be uncovered. He plays to their self-interest, hinting that those who stand with him in this moment will be remembered when the crisis passes. The senators eat it up. They have spent 3 years watching the Republic crumble, watching their approval ratings plummet, watching their constituents die in a war that seemed to have no purpose and no end. Now, suddenly, everything makes sense. The war was orchestrated, the suffering was deliberate, and the man who engineered it all has been destroyed by the very Jedi they have sometimes doubted. The narrative is clean, simple, satisfying. It asks nothing of them except to applaud and be grateful. The applause starts slowly, but builds to a thunderous crescendo. These senators have spent 3 years watching their republic crumble, watching systems fall to the separatists, watching their constituents die in a war that seemed to have no end. Now, finally, they have answers. They have someone to blame. And more importantly, they have a hero who saved them from a fate too terrible to imagine. Anakin Skywalker stands before them bathed in their adulation, and he knows that he has won the first battle of his new war. From the Naboo delegation's platform, Senator Padme Amidala watches her husband with a growing sense of dread. She knows this man better than anyone in the chamber, has shared his bed and his secrets, has seen both his greatest virtues and his deepest flaws. And what she sees now frightens her in ways she cannot fully articulate. Padme watches from the Naboo delegation's platform, and she is not applauding. She knows her husband better than anyone in this chamber, and she has seen something in his eyes that frightens her, a coldness that wasn't there before, a calculation behind every word, every gesture. When he spoke of Palpatine's death, she saw no grief, no conflict, no horror at having taken a life. She saw satisfaction, control, and underneath it all, something that might have been hunger. Later, in their private apartments, she confronts him. The conversation begins gently, a wife asking her husband about the trauma he has experienced, offering comfort and support. But Anakin's responses are too smooth, too rehearsed. He speaks of his feelings as if reading from a script, saying all the right words without any of the accompanying emotion. When Padme pushes harder, asking what really happened in that office, his mask slips for just a moment. He asks if she trusts him. The question comes with an edge she has never heard before, a challenge dressed as vulnerability. She says that of course she trusts him, she loves him, she wants to help him through whatever he's experiencing. But even as she speaks the words, she's not sure they're true anymore. The man standing before her looks like Anakin Skywalker, sounds like Anakin Skywalker. But something fundamental has changed. She can feel it in the Force, even with her limited sensitivity. A darkness that wasn't there before. A hunger that seems to grow, even as she watches. Anakin senses her doubt, and it frustrates him. He has saved her. He has saved them all. Why can't she see that? Why can't anyone understand that what he did was necessary? Palpatine was a monster who would have enslaved the galaxy. Windu was a blind fool who would have let him do it. Anakin did what no one else had the courage to do, and instead of gratitude, he faces suspicion and fear. But he forces these feelings down. He cannot afford to alienate Padme, not when their children grow within her, not when her political connections remain valuable. So he softens his expression, takes her hands in his, and tells her that everything will be all right. He promises that the nightmare is over, that they can finally build the life they've always dreamed of. And because she wants so desperately to believe him, because the alternative is too frightening to contemplate, she allows herself to be convinced. That night, after Padme falls into an uneasy sleep, Anakin returns to his study and continues his work. Palpatine's files are a treasure trove of information, and he spends hours cataloging every asset, every agent, every secret the Sith Lord accumulated over his long career. The scope of the manipulation is staggering. Palpatine had operatives in every major government in the galaxy. He had dirt on senators, generals, corporate executives, and crime lords. He had been playing a game of galactic chess for decades, moving pieces that didn't even know they were being played. But now, the game belongs to Anakin. He begins reaching out to key figures using Palpatine's secure channels, testing their loyalty, gauging their usefulness. Some are dead ends, true believers in Palpatine himself, who will be dangerous if left unchecked. Others are pure mercenaries, willing to serve whoever holds the purse strings. A few show genuine potential, intelligent operatives who can see which way the wind is blowing and want to be on the winning side. Anakin files away each name, each interaction, building a mental map of the power structure he has inherited. The clone army presents a more immediate opportunity. As the highest-ranking Jedi General in the Republic, Anakin already has command authority over vast swaths of the military. With Palpatine's override codes, he now has something even more valuable: the ability to issue orders that no clone can disobey. He doesn't activate Order 66. That would be wasteful, destroying a resource he might need later. Instead, he begins implementing subtler forms of control, reassigning certain commanders, promoting officers who have shown particular loyalty to him personally, and positioning his most trusted units in strategic locations. Commander Rex of the 501st Legion receives a personal communication from General Skywalker late that night. The message is brief but significant: a commendation for exceptional service and a promotion to a newly created position as Anakin's personal military liaison. Rex accepts with pride, never suspecting that his beloved general is already thinking of him not as a friend, but as a piece on a game board. The inhibitor chip in Rex's brain remains dormant, a failsafe waiting to be triggered if loyalty ever wavers. 3 days after Palpatine's death, the Republic launches its final offensive against the Separatists. With the Chancellor's intelligence files now in the hands of Republic strategists, carefully edited to remove any trace of Palpatine's true role, the locations of every major Separatist stronghold are exposed. Anakin personally leads the assault on Utapau, where General Grievous has established his command center. The fleet drops out of hyperspace above the sinkhole world with military precision, over 100 capital ships arranged in perfect attack formation. It is the largest Republic deployment since the beginning of the war, an overwhelming display of force designed not just to win, but to terrify. Anakin commands from the bridge of the Resolute, his flagship throughout the Clone Wars, watching as the Separatist defensive fleet scrambles to respond. The space battle is brief and brutal. Outgunned and outmaneuvered, the Separatist ships fall within the first hour. Droid fighters swarm against the Republic assault, but are cut down by clone pilots who have been fighting this enemy for 3 years and know every weakness, every vulnerability, every gap in their programming. By the time Anakin's shuttle descends toward the planet's surface, the orbital defenses have been reduced to scattered debris. The ground assault is even more one-sided. Republic forces descend on the sinkhole world with overwhelming strength, clone troopers rappelling down the massive vertical walls, while gunships provide covering fire. The Separatist droids fight back with their usual mechanical efficiency, but they are outmatched and outmaneuvered at every turn. Anakin's battle meditation guides his forces with uncanny precision, anticipating enemy movements before they happen, exploiting weaknesses before they become apparent. The battle for Utapau becomes a clinic in military efficiency. Anakin divides the enemy forces, isolates their commanders, and destroys them in detail. Clone troopers advance through the sinkhole cities with methodical brutality, clearing building after building, level after level. Droid reinforcements arrive from deeper within the planet, only to find themselves walking into kill zones, their positions already targeted by artillery that seems to know exactly where they will be. Within 6 hours, the main Separatist defensive lines have collapsed. Within 12, organized resistance has effectively ceased. By the time the sun sets on Utapau's primary continent, Republic forces control every major population center, and the survivors are surrendering by the thousands. It is, by any measure, a crushing victory. But Anakin is not satisfied with crushing victories. He wants the war's end, and that means eliminating Grievous personally. The cyborg general waits in the command center at the heart of the largest sinkhole, surrounded by his elite Magna Guards. The cyborg general is no fool. He can see that this battle is lost, that the Republic has finally found the killing stroke that will end the war. His only concern now is survival, escaping to fight another day, to rebuild, to continue the vendetta against the Jedi that has consumed his artificial life. But when he turns to flee, he finds Anakin Skywalker standing in the doorway. Grievous processes this development with computerized efficiency. A single Jedi, apparently alone, blocking the only exit. The tactical analysis is straightforward. Eliminate the obstacle and proceed with evacuation. That this particular Jedi is Skywalker, the hero with no fear, the most dangerous warrior the Republic has produced in a generation, is a complication, but not an insurmountable one. Grievous has killed Jedi before. Many Jedi. Their lightsabers hang from his belt as trophies, mementos of past conquests. He activates all 4 of his weapons, the stolen lightsabers of fallen Jedi, spinning them in the intimidating display that has terrified opponents across the galaxy. Green and blue blades whirl in patterns designed to overwhelm human perception, to create a wall of lethal energy that no living being can penetrate. His Magna Guards fan out to flank the intruder, their electrostaffs crackling with energy. Anakin watches all of this without expression. He has faced Grievous before and found him wanting. The cyborg is fast, yes, and his multiple limbs give him unusual attack patterns, but he lacks any connection to the Force, any ability to anticipate or adapt beyond his programming. Against a true master, these disadvantages are fatal. The confrontation is brief but intense. Grievous activates all 4 of his lightsabers, the trophies of Jedi he has killed, spinning them in the intimidating display that has terrified opponents across the galaxy. But Anakin is not impressed. He has faced Grievous before and found him wanting. The cyborg is fast, yes, and his multiple limbs give him unusual attack patterns. But he lacks any connection to the Force, any ability to anticipate or adapt beyond his programming. Against a true master, these disadvantages are fatal. Anakin doesn't wait for Grievous to come to him. He explodes into motion, his blue blade a streak of light that cuts through the first Magna Guard before it can raise its electrostaff. The second falls a heartbeat later, bisected at the waist. The third manages to block a single strike before Anakin's force push sends it crashing through the wall. By the time Grievous processes what is happening, half his guards are already dead. They clash in the center of the command room, 4 lightsabers against 1. Metal limbs whirling in patterns designed to overwhelm human reflexes. But Anakin is not merely human. He is the chosen one, the most powerful Force user of his generation, and he moves with a speed and precision that Grievous cannot match. Each of the cyborg's attacks is parried or deflected. Each opening is exploited. Within 30 seconds, Grievous has lost 2 of his arms, the lightsabers they held clattering uselessly to the floor. The general tries to flee, his remaining limbs propelling him toward an escape hatch at terrifying speed. But Anakin reaches out with the Force and holds him in place. Grievous struggles against the invisible grip, his mechanical body straining with all its considerable power. Motors whine, servos scream. The durasteel of his frame begins to buckle under the pressure. It's useless. Anakin walks toward him slowly, savoring the moment, enjoying the fear he can see in those alien eyes. He speaks as he approaches, his voice calm, almost conversational. He tells Grievous that this moment was always coming, that the cyborg was always a tool, a distraction, a piece in a game played by beings far more intelligent than he would ever be. The Separatist cause was a lie from the beginning, orchestrated by a Sith Lord who never intended for it to succeed. Everything, Grievous believed, everything he fought for, was manipulation. The words are designed to wound, and they do. Grievous snarls defiance, insisting that the Separatists will endure, that new leaders will rise, that the galaxy will never submit to Jedi tyranny. But there is desperation in his voice now, the understanding that his destiny is no longer his own. Anakin raises his lightsaber. He could take Grievous alive. The intelligence value would be enormous. Every Separatist plan, every secret base, every hidden asset, all of it locked inside that metal skull. But Anakin isn't interested in intelligence. He's interested in sending a message. So he raises his lightsaber, and with a single precise thrust, ends the career of the galaxy's most feared military commander. The blade pierces Grievous's central processor, the cybernetic brain that contains everything the general once was. There is a moment of terrible clarity in those alien eyes, a final understanding of mortality that transcends the mechanical cage enclosing it. Then the light fades, and General Grievous, Scourge of the Jedi, is no more. Anakin stands over the body for a long moment, feeling nothing. No satisfaction, no triumph, not even relief. Just the cold certainty that this was necessary, and now it is done. One more obstacle removed. One more step toward the galaxy he is building. News of Grievous's death reaches the remaining Separatist Council within hours. They are hiding on Mustafar, the volcanic world that Darth Sidious had designated as their sanctuary. With the Republic forces approaching and their supreme military commander dead, they debate their options with increasing desperation. Some argue for surrender, hoping to negotiate terms. Others insist on fighting to the last droid. A few quietly begin making plans to disappear, to take what credits they can, and vanish into the galactic underworld. Their debate becomes irrelevant when Anakin's ship enters the system. He comes alone, without escort or backup. The Separatist leaders watch his approach with confusion and fear. This is not how Republic operations are conducted. There should be a fleet, an invasion force, formal demands for surrender. Instead, there is a single Jedi fighter descending through Mustafar's toxic atmosphere, landing on the facility's private platform as if arriving for a scheduled appointment. The Separatist Council watches his descent from the facility's control room, their expressions ranging from terror to calculation. They are the most powerful beings in the Confederacy of Independent Systems, leaders of corporations that span hundreds of worlds, controllers of wealth that would make most planetary governments weep with envy. For 3 years, they have guided the war effort from a safe distance, making decisions that cost millions of lives, while never personally facing any danger. Now danger has come for them, and they are paralyzed by it. Newt Gunray, Viceroy of the Trade Federation, recovers first. He has survived the Clone Wars through a combination of cowardice and cunning, always managing to be somewhere else when the fighting got too close. His instinct for self-preservation is finely honed, and it tells him that this situation requires diplomacy rather than confrontation. A Jedi, even a famous one, is still just a man. Men can be bribed, men can be reasoned with, men can be manipulated. He orders the others to remain calm and goes to meet the visitor personally. His aides protest, warning him of the danger, but Gunray dismisses their concerns. He has been dealing with politicians and warriors all his life. He knows how to handle them. Newt Gunray, Viceroy of the Trade Federation, is the first to greet him. The Neimoidian has survived the Clone Wars through a combination of cowardice and cunning, always managing to be somewhere else when the fighting got too close. Now, watching Anakin Skywalker walk down his ship's ramp, he feels genuine terror for the first time in years. But he forces a smile and offers words of welcome, congratulating the Jedi on his victory, assuring him that the Trade Federation has always desired peace, hinting at the generous terms they are prepared to offer. The words flow smoothly, polished by decades of negotiation and deception. Gunray speaks of misunderstandings, of unfortunate circumstances, of the way the war forced everyone into positions they never wanted to occupy. He implies that the Trade Federation was never fully committed to the Separatist cause, that they were coerced by Dooku and his mysterious masters, that they would be happy to cooperate with the Republic in rebuilding what has been destroyed. He offers credits, information, political support. He offers everything a desperate man can offer when facing his own mortality. Anakin listens with apparent interest. He nods at the appropriate moments. He even smiles when Gunray makes a particularly clumsy attempt at flattery. And then, without any change in expression, he ignites his lightsaber and drives it through the Viceroy's chest. Gunray has just enough time to look surprised before death claims him. His mouth opens, perhaps to protest, perhaps to beg, perhaps simply in shock. No words emerge. His body crumples to the landing platform, smoke rising from the wound, and Anakin steps over him without a backward glance. The facility's alarms begin to wail as Anakin walks through the entrance. Security droids converge on his position, but they are swept aside by waves of force energy. Guards, both organic and mechanical, attempt to block his path. They die screaming, their weapons useless against an enemy who moves too fast to track and strikes too hard to survive. By the time Anakin reaches the conference room, where the remaining council members cower, there is nothing left between them but terror. What follows is slaughter. The Separatist Council, for all their power and influence, are not warriors. They are bankers and bureaucrats, corporate executives who waged war through proxies and profit margins. Against a single Jedi Knight, they have no defense. Anakin moves through the facility like death itself, his blade finding each cowering leader in turn. Poggle the Lesser, Archduke of Geonosis, tries to hide behind a control console. His insectoid species has survived for millennia through cunning and adaptation, but there is no adapting to a lightsaber through the thorax. He clicks and chatters in his native tongue as Anakin approaches, perhaps pleading, perhaps cursing. The blade silences him mid-word. San Hill, chairman of the intergalactic banking clan, attempts to bargain. He offers access codes to accounts worth trillions of credits. The financial infrastructure that has funded the entire separatist war effort. His voice is steady, his arguments logical, his desperation well hidden behind a mask of professional courtesy. Anakin listens long enough to memorize the codes, then adds another body to the growing pile. Wat Tambor, foreman of the Techno Union, never sees the strike that kills him. He is still trying to activate his personal shield generator when the blade takes him from behind. His dying thought is confusion that his technology has failed him, that all his genius for invention could not produce a defense against a single man with a sword. Pascal Argente, magistrate of the Corporate Alliance, makes it almost to a secondary exit before Anakin catches him. He is not a young being, and the decades of luxury have left him soft and slow. He manages 3 steps into the corridor before the Force takes hold of him, lifting him into the air and dragging him back into the conference room. He screams the entire way, promising anything, everything, if only he can live. His screams continue until they abruptly stop. The last to die is Shu Mai, Commerce Guild Presidente, who makes it almost to the landing platform before Anakin catches her. She offers everything, credits beyond imagining, planets, entire sectors of the galaxy, anything he wants. She promises to serve him, to use her connections and her wealth to support whatever cause he favors. She swears that she will be loyal, that she will never betray him, that she will do anything, anything at all. Just please, please let her live. Anakin considers her offer for just a moment. Then he tells her that what he wants is an end to this war. And ends it, he does. He stands alone in the ruins of the conference room, surrounded by the bodies of beings who once controlled the fate of billions. The lava flows of Mustafar cast everything in shades of red and orange, and for just a moment, Anakin allows himself to feel the weight of what he has done. These were not soldiers. They were not warriors. They posed no physical threat to him whatsoever. They were simply obstacles, problems to be solved, and he solved them in the most efficient way possible. He waits for guilt, for remorse, for some echo of the compassion the Jedi taught him to feel for all living things. But there is only satisfaction. These beings sent their droid armies to conquer peaceful worlds. They funded weapons that killed millions of Republic soldiers. They profited from suffering on a scale that defies comprehension. Their deaths are not murder. They are justice. With that thought firmly in place, Anakin turns and walks back to his ship. The war is over. The time for building has begun. The fall of the Separatist leadership marks the effective conclusion of the Clone Wars. Without Grievous to command their armies and the Council to coordinate their efforts, the Separatist forces begin to fragment. Some commanders surrender immediately, seeking mercy from a republic they never truly believed in. Others fight on for weeks or months, diehards who cannot accept that their cause is lost. A few successfully disappear into the galactic fringe, taking their droid armies with them to become warlords and pirates. But these are mopping up operations, footnotes to a conflict that has already been decided. The galaxy begins to celebrate. Systems that have known nothing but war for 3 years, finally seeing the possibility of peace. Parades fill the streets of Coruscant. Veterans return home to families they thought they might never see again. Politicians begin drafting plans for reconstruction, for reconciliation, for a new era of prosperity. And Anakin Skywalker stands at the center of it all, the hero who ended the war, the chosen one who saved the Republic. The accolades pour in from across the galaxy. Medals, commendations, formal thanks from 100 different governments. The HoloNet runs endless profiles of the young Jedi general, his remarkable rise from slave boy to savior of civilization. Children who once played with toy lightsabers now pretend to be Anakin specifically, reenacting his duel with Grievous, his confrontation with Palpatine, his single-handed destruction of the Separatist Council. He is more than a hero. He is becoming a legend. Within the Jedi Order, opinions are more divided. Some masters see Anakin's prominence as a validation of their teachings, proof that even a student as troubled as Skywalker could ultimately serve the light. Others feel a growing unease, sensing darkness beneath the surface of his achievements. Yoda meditates for long hours, searching the Force for guidance, but the future remains clouded, uncertain, shot through with shadows he cannot penetrate. Obi-Wan Kenobi watches his former apprentice with a mixture of pride and concern. He knows Anakin better than almost anyone, has fought beside him across 100 battlefields, has seen both his greatest triumphs and his deepest failures. Something has changed in his old friend, something subtle but significant. Anakin has always been passionate, impulsive, quick to anger, and equally quick to forgive. But now there is a calculation behind his eyes, a coldness that emerges when he thinks no one is watching. Obi-Wan tries to raise these concerns with the Council, but he is dismissed. Anakin has just saved the Republic. A little darkness is understandable given what he has experienced. He will return to himself in time. But time, Obi-Wan fears, is not on their side. The first disappearances begin 3 weeks after the war's end. They are subtle at first, easily explained away. Master Trebor, who had been openly critical of Anakin's expanded military authority, is found dead in his quarters, the victim of an apparent heart failure. Knight Kolar, who questioned the continued presence of clone troops on pacified worlds, vanishes during a routine mission to the Outer Rim. His ship is found drifting near an asteroid field. No survivors, no evidence of foul play. Tragic accidents, nothing more. But they keep happening. A Padawan here, a knight there, always among those who voice doubts about the direction the Republic is taking. The Jedi Council launches investigations, but evidence is impossible to find. Anakin expresses appropriate concern, even volunteers to help search for the missing, all while knowing exactly where each body lies buried. He is building something new, something the galaxy has never seen before. Not a Sith Order, with its limiting rule of two and endless backstabbing. Not a Jedi Temple, with its stifling codes and willful blindness to the realities of power. Something that takes the best of both, while discarding their weaknesses. He calls it the Chosen, and its members come from everywhere. The recruitment process is careful, methodical, and utterly ruthless. Anakin's agents scour the galaxy for Force sensitives who have escaped the Jedi's notice. Individuals who have developed their powers in isolation, who have learned to use the Force without the Order's philosophies to constrain them. These people are approached carefully, tested thoroughly, and offered a choice. Join the Emperor's inner circle, or be eliminated as a potential threat. Most choose to join. The alternative is not particularly attractive. Some are former Jedi, young knights who felt constrained by the Order's traditions, who saw the potential in the dark side that their masters denied. These recruits bring valuable knowledge of Jedi techniques, insights into the Order's weaknesses, and often a burning resentment that makes them particularly effective agents. They have seen the hypocrisy of the Jedi firsthand, watched their masters preach compassion while making cold political calculations, observed the gap between the Order's ideals and its reality. Their disillusionment makes them ideal candidates for Anakin's new way. Others are Force sensitives who were never found by the Jedi, who developed their powers in isolation and were eager for real training. These individuals often come from the fringes of galactic civilization, from worlds too remote or too poor to attract the Order's attention. They have had to discover the Force on their own without guidance or support, and they are hungry for the knowledge that Anakin offers. Their gratitude is immense, their loyalty absolute. A few are dark side practitioners from traditions older than the Republic, wielders of techniques the Jedi thought lost to history, the sorcerers of Tund, the prophets of the dark side, the Night Sisters of Dathomir. These ancient orders have preserved knowledge that the Jedi suppressed, rituals and powers that tap into aspects of the Force the Order considered too dangerous to acknowledge. Anakin welcomes them all, adding their secrets to his growing understanding of what the Force can truly do. All of them share one thing in common. They believe that power should be used, not feared, and they are willing to follow someone who agrees. Anakin trains them personally in the ruins of an ancient Sith temple on Malachor V. Here, far from the prying eyes of the Jedi Council, he teaches them the philosophy he has developed over months of meditation and practice. The location is deliberate. Malachor V was once the site of a devastating battle between Jedi and Sith, a conflict that killed thousands and left the world scarred by dark side energy. The ruins are saturated with power, the echoes of ancient suffering creating a resonance that amplifies Force abilities. Training here accelerates the students' development, allowing them to achieve in months what would take years in a more neutral environment. But Malachor is dangerous as well. The dark side energy can overwhelm those who are not strong enough to resist it. Students who come here unprepared find themselves consumed by rage, driven mad by visions, transformed into something less than human. Anakin watches carefully for signs of instability, eliminating those who cannot maintain their balance. The weak are not tolerated. The strong flourish. The light side is not wrong, he tells them, merely incomplete. It offers peace, serenity, a connection to the living Force. But it also demands passivity, restraint, the suppression of natural emotions that make sentient beings who they are. The dark side, conversely, offers power and passion, but at the cost of sanity and stability. The Sith destroyed themselves as often as their enemies, consumed by the very forces they sought to master. The lectures continue for hours, exploring every aspect of this philosophy. Anakin draws on his own experience, describing his journey from Jedi Padawan to Emperor. He speaks of the moment he realized the Jedi were wrong, the instant of clarity that came when he stopped letting others define his destiny. He admits his failures as well as his successes, showing his students that even the Chosen One is capable of mistakes. The honesty is calculated, designed to build trust while establishing his authority. The true path, Anakin teaches, lies in balance. Not the balance the Jedi preach, which is simply the light side by another name, but actual equilibrium between competing forces. Embrace emotion, but do not be ruled by it. Seek power, but direct it toward purpose. Use the dark side as a tool, not a master. This is what the Chosen One was always meant to understand, and now he will teach it to others. His students drink in every word. For most of them, This is the validation they have sought their entire lives. They were told by Jedi teachers that their anger was wrong, that their passion was dangerous, that their natural feelings must be suppressed, or they would fall to darkness. Now they have a master who tells them they were right to question, right to feel, right to want more than the empty platitudes of the Order. The training is brutal. Anakin pushes his students to their limits and beyond, forcing them to confront their fears, their weaknesses, their deepest insecurities. Those who break are discarded. Those who survive emerge stronger, forged by the experience into something greater than they were before. The chosen do not coddle their members. They temper them like steel, removing impurities through fire and pressure. Combat training occupies much of each day. The chosen must be warriors first and foremost, capable of facing any threat the Empire might encounter. Anakin teaches them forms and techniques drawn from both Jedi and Sith traditions, creating a hybrid style that emphasizes flexibility and adaptability. They spar against each other, against droids, against captured prisoners who have been given weapons and told that survival is the only way out. But combat is only one aspect of their education. The chosen must also master the more subtle applications of the Force: telepathy, mind tricks, the ability to sense emotions and intentions. These skills are essential for their role as the Emperor's eyes and ears, allowing them to detect threats before they materialize and manipulate situations to the Empire's advantage. Their loyalty to Anakin is absolute, forged in the crucible of shared understanding and mutual purpose. They have all felt what it is like to be rejected, to be told that their nature is wrong, to be forced to suppress the very things that make them powerful. Anakin offers them acceptance, purpose, and a place in the new order he is building. In return, they give him everything they have. On Coruscant, Padme prepares for the birth of her children. Her pregnancy is now visible, impossible to hide even in the flowing robes she favors. She has told the Senate she is taking a leave of absence for health reasons, but rumors spread nonetheless. Some whisper that the senator from Naboo is with child, and speculation about the father ranges from political rivals to secret lovers to artificial insemination. No one suspects the truth, that the father is the most famous Jedi in the galaxy, and that he is no longer the man she married. The medical droids attend to her with quiet efficiency, monitoring her health and the development of the twins. 2 children, the scans reveal, a boy and a girl. When Padme first received this news, she wept with joy, imagining the family she and Anakin would build together. Now she weeps for different reasons, mourning the future that will never be, the childhood her children will never have. Their relationship has grown increasingly strained. Anakin is away more often than not, always with plausible explanations, military consultations, diplomatic missions, Jedi business. But Padme can feel him slipping away, even when he's present, his attention elsewhere, his thoughts guarded in ways they never were before. The man who once confided everything to her now shares only what he wants her to know. Their conversations have become careful, measured, full of words that say nothing and silences that say too much. She catches him watching her sometimes, a calculating look in his eyes that makes her feel like a piece on a game board rather than a partner in his life. When she asks about his plans for the future, he speaks in vague terms about bringing order to the galaxy, about building something better than what exists. He describes a new era of peace and prosperity, an end to the corruption and inefficiency that have plagued the Republic for centuries. The words sound reasonable, even inspiring, But there is something underneath them that frightens her. A coldness, a ruthlessness, a willingness to do whatever is necessary to achieve his goals. She asks what role she will play in this new order, and he smiles in a way that doesn't reach his eyes. He speaks of a place of honor, of influence, of the opportunity to shape policy without the constraints of senatorial politics. But Padme has spent her entire adult life in politics, and she knows how to read what people don't say. The role Anakin describes is not a partner's position. It is a trophy's. She begins to make contingency plans. Secret communications with Bail Organa, the senator from Alderaan, and one of the few politicians she still trusts completely. They speak in code, aware that Anakin's surveillance capabilities are growing by the day. She describes her concerns without naming them explicitly, and Bail responds with equal care. They both know what is at stake. They both understand that the window for action is closing. Quiet inquiries about safe worlds where someone might disappear if necessary. Not for herself. She knows that Anakin would find her anywhere in the galaxy. But for the children. There must be places where two infants could be hidden, raised away from their father's influence, given a chance to become something other than what Anakin wants them to be. Coded messages to old friends on Naboo, who might provide sanctuary. The lake country where they were married has deep caves and abandoned structures, places where someone could hide for months or years without being discovered. Her family still has connections there, people who would ask no questions if she appeared with children and asked for help. She tells herself she is being paranoid, that the father of her children would never harm her, that the darkness she senses is temporary, a response to the trauma he has experienced. But the precautions continue nonetheless. The twins are born on a night when Coruscant's sky is thick with clouds, the city's endless lights reflecting back from the haze to create an otherworldly glow. The delivery is surprisingly easy, the medical droids handling everything with mechanical precision. Within hours, Padme holds both her children, Luke in one arm and Leia in the other, marveling at how perfect they are. They are so small, these two beings who will reshape the galaxy's future. Luke has his father's eyes, clear and blue and seemingly full of ancient wisdom, despite being only minutes old. Leia has her mother's dark hair, already thick and curly, and a grip that suggests the determination that will define her life. They are beautiful, perfect, the best thing Padme has ever created, and looking at them fills her with a love so fierce, it almost hurts. Anakin is present for the birth, the first time he has been fully attentive in weeks. When he holds Luke in his arms, something genuine flickers across his face, a tenderness that Padme has desperately missed. His expression softens in a way she has not seen in months, the hard edges of the man he has become, giving way to something more vulnerable. When Leia grips his finger with surprising strength, he laughs with what seems like pure joy. The sound brings tears to Padme's eyes because it reminds her of who he used to be, of the man she fell in love with, of the future they once imagined together. For a moment, watching him with their children, she can almost believe that everything will be all right. The tenderness he shows them is genuine, unmistakable, a light shining through the darkness that has consumed him. Perhaps this is what he needed. Perhaps the reality of fatherhood, the weight of responsibility for two helpless lives, will bring him back to himself. For a few hours, Padme allows herself to hope. Perhaps the birth of their children will bring him back to himself. Perhaps the love he clearly feels for these tiny beings will anchor him to his humanity. Perhaps everything will be all right after all. But then Anakin begins to talk about their future, and the hope dies. It starts innocuously enough. He speaks of wanting to give them everything, every opportunity, every advantage. He describes the education they will receive, the best tutors in the galaxy, training in politics and diplomacy and the arts of war. He imagines them growing up strong and capable, ready to take their place in the new order he is building. At first, Padme nods along, hearing a father's normal hopes for his children. But as Anakin continues, the nature of his vision becomes clear. He speaks of the legacy he will build for them, the empire they will inherit, the power they will wield. He describes training regimens starting at age 3, political education beginning at 5, force training under his personal supervision as soon as they are old enough to understand. He outlines a childhood with no room for play, no space for wonder, no opportunity to be anything other than what he wants them to be. He looks at his infant children and sees not babies to nurture, but heirs to mold. The warmth in his eyes takes on a calculating edge, assessing their potential, planning their development with the same strategic precision he applies to military campaigns. Padme realizes with growing horror that her husband does not love Luke and Leia as children. He loves them as extensions of himself, tools for his vision, pieces in his game. And when he speaks of their connection to the Force, his eyes gleam with something that looks disturbingly like hunger. He can already sense their potential, he says. They will be powerful, perhaps as powerful as he is. With proper training, they could become the greatest Force users the galaxy has ever seen. Together, the three of them will reshape the universe according to their will. Padme's blood runs cold. She sees, with terrible clarity, what her children's future will be if she does nothing. They will be raised in the shadow of their father's darkness, molded into instruments of his ambition, taught to see power as the only thing that matters. They will become what he has become, and the cycle of suffering will continue for another generation. She says nothing. She smiles and nods and agrees with his plans, because the alternative is confrontation, and she is not yet ready for that fight. But inside, something hardens. She will not let her children become what Anakin is becoming. Whatever it takes, whatever the cost, she will protect them from their father. In the days that follow, she begins planning in earnest. Her communications with Bail Organa become more urgent, more specific. She needs escape routes, safe houses, identities that cannot be traced. She needs people who can be trusted absolutely, who will die before revealing where she has gone. She needs everything in place before Anakin realizes what she is planning, because once he knows, escape will become impossible. Bail provides what he can, working through intermediaries to avoid detection. He arranges transport on ships that will not appear in any registry. He identifies worlds where Imperial surveillance is weak, places where a woman with 2 children might disappear. He recruits allies among the growing number of senators who have begun to question the direction the Republic is taking. The preparations take months. Padme cannot move too quickly, cannot do anything that might alert Anakin to her intentions. She plays the role of devoted wife and new mother, cooing over her children, discussing domestic matters, giving every appearance of contentment. But every night, after Anakin falls asleep, she reviews her plans and refines her strategy. The window is narrowing. Soon, she will have to act. 6 months after the war's end, Anakin makes his move. The Republic has remained under emergency powers, the justification shifting from war to reconstruction to the need for strong leadership during unstable times. The Senate, which once debated every aspect of galactic policy, has become increasingly irrelevant, its votes predetermined, its debates performative, its members more concerned with currying favor with the new power center than with representing their constituents. The preparations have been meticulous. Anakin's agents have spent months cultivating support among key senators, identifying potential opponents, and positioning assets throughout the government. The military is firmly under his control, with loyal officers in every significant command position. The Chosen have infiltrated every major institution, ready to act on his signal. When the moment comes, resistance will be futile. Now he stands before the Senate and delivers a speech that will be remembered for millennia. The chamber is packed to capacity, every senator present for what has been announced as a major address on the future of the Republic. Holo cameras broadcast the event across the galaxy, billions of beings watching as the hero with no fear takes the central podium. The atmosphere is tense, expectant, aware that something significant is about to happen without knowing exactly what. Anakin begins with humility, his voice calm, his demeanor respectful. He is just a servant of the Republic, a soldier who fought for their freedom, a Jedi who honored his oaths. He never sought power or position. He only wanted to protect the people he cared about and the institutions he believed in. But he has seen things that have shaken his faith in the system he served. Corruption so deep that a Sith Lord could hide at its very heart for decades. Inefficiency so endemic that a galactic war had to be lost a dozen times before it could be won. Division so profound that member worlds felt they had no choice but to secede and fight. The Republic, Anakin says with apparent sorrow, has failed. He pauses, letting the words sink in. The senators shift uncomfortably, some nodding in reluctant agreement, others frowning at what sounds like treason. But Anakin continues before opposition can coalesce. But failure is not the end. Failure is an opportunity to build something better. The galaxy does not need more debate, more committees, more endless negotiations while people suffer and die. It needs decisive action. It needs strong leadership. It needs unity of purpose and clarity of vision. His voice rises as he reaches the critical point. He speaks of the lessons history teaches, how the greatest civilizations have always been led by individuals strong enough to make difficult decisions. Democracy is a luxury that only stable societies can afford. In times of crisis, it becomes a liability, a mechanism for paralysis rather than action. The Republic tried to be democratic during a civil war, and the result was chaos, suffering, and near defeat. It needs, in short, an empire. The word lands like a thermal detonator in the chamber. Some senators recoil in horror, recognizing the threat to everything they claim to believe in. Others nod eagerly, having long since concluded that democracy was a luxury their worlds could not afford. Most simply stare, uncertain how to react to this unprecedented moment. The chamber erupts in chaos. Senators leap to their feet, some shouting protests, others cheering support. The noise is overwhelming, a cacophony of voices that drowns out any attempt at organized response. Security droids that have been stationed throughout the chamber begin to move, positioning themselves to intervene if the disturbance turns violent. On her platform, Padme feels the world crumbling beneath her feet. She has feared this moment, has seen the signs of its approach, has tried to prepare herself for the possibility. But nothing could truly prepare her for hearing her husband declare himself emperor, for watching the Republic she has served her entire adult life die in a thunder of applause. The holocameras capture every reaction, broadcasting them across the galaxy. In living rooms and cantinas, in government offices and military bases, beings of every species watch as the fundamental nature of their civilization is challenged. Some feel hope, believing that strong leadership will finally end the chaos and suffering. Others feel fear, recognizing the beginning of tyranny. Most feel a kind of numb disbelief, the sense that reality has shifted beneath their feet. On Naboo, Padmé's family watches in horror as the man who married their daughter in secret announces his intention to rule the galaxy. Her father, who never approved of the relationship, finds his worst fears confirmed. Her mother weeps silently, mourning the grandchildren she may never be allowed to know. Her sister clutches her own children close, suddenly aware of how fragile the peace they have always taken for granted truly is. On Tatooine, the slaves who once knew Anakin as one of their own react with confusion. The boy who dreamed of freedom has become the ultimate slaver, claiming ownership of the entire galaxy. Some see it as vindication, proof that one of their number could rise to the highest position imaginable. Others see it as betrayal, the transformation of a hero into everything he once claimed to oppose. In Jedi temples across the galaxy, Padawans and knights sense the disturbance in the Force and know that something terrible has happened. They reach out to their masters for guidance, for reassurance, for any explanation that might make sense of what they are feeling. Most receive only silence, because their masters have no answers to give. Anakin continues before opposition can coalesce. He speaks of balance, a word he has come to love for its flexibility. The Republic was unbalanced, favoring talk over action, process over results, the few over the many. His empire will restore balance by placing power in the hands of those capable of wielding it wisely. Not a dictatorship of one, but a meritocracy of purpose. The Senate will continue to exist, will continue to represent its worlds, but ultimate authority will rest with an emperor who can cut through bureaucratic paralysis and do what must be done. And who better to serve as that emperor than the chosen one himself? The prophecy spoke of balance, and balance is what he brings. Not the destruction of the Sith, which was merely a symptom, but the transformation of the entire galactic order into something stable, just, and strong. The applause begins with Anakin's most devoted supporters, senators from worlds he has saved personally, politicians whose careers he has made or preserved. It spreads as others join in, some from genuine belief, others from fear, most from simple expedience. Within minutes, the majority of the Senate is on its feet, cheering the birth of an empire and the rise of its first emperor. Not everyone cheers. Bail Organa stands in stony silence, his face a mask of barely contained fury. Mon Mothma, the senator from Chandrila, watches with tears streaming down her cheeks. A handful of others, perhaps 200 out of thousands, refuse to participate in the acclamation. But their opposition is scattered, unorganized, insignificant against the tide of history. Bail catches Padmé's eye across the chamber. Her face is pale, her hands gripping the railing of her platform so tightly that her knuckles have turned white. They have discussed this possibility, planned for it, hoped it would never come. Now it has, and there is nothing they can do except watch as everything they believe in is swept away. From the Jedi Temple, the surviving masters sense the disturbance in the Force. This is wrong, fundamentally wrong, a twisting of the galaxy's destiny into shapes it was never meant to hold. Yoda reaches out across the city, trying to understand what is happening, and for just a moment, his consciousness touches Anakin's. What he finds there makes him physically recoil. Darkness, yes, but also light, twisted together into something he has never encountered. Not Sith, not Jedi, something new, and something terrifying. The council convenes in emergency session. They debate what can be done, what should be done, whether anything can be done at all. Some argue that Anakin has become a threat that must be eliminated, no matter the cost. Others insist that the prophecy must still be fulfilled somehow, that the chosen one cannot truly have fallen. A few suggest waiting, watching, seeing what this new empire actually brings before taking action. In the end, they choose a middle path. Emissaries will be sent to the new emperor, seeking clarification of the Jedi's role in his new order. No hostile action will be taken unless it becomes absolutely necessary. The order will prepare for conflict while hoping for peace. It is exactly the response Anakin expected. He knows the Jedi better than they know themselves. He has sat in their council chambers, attended their debates, observed their decision-making processes for over a decade. They are fundamentally incapable of acting decisively against a threat they have not already categorized and analyzed. By presenting them with something genuinely new, an emperor who offers partnership rather than persecution, he has paralyzed their ability to respond. The delegation that arrives includes Master Plo Koon, whose calm demeanor masks deep concern about the direction events are taking. Beside him is Master Ajan Kolar, whose aggressive instincts argue for immediate action against the new regime. And leading them is Master Ki-Adi-Mundi, whose diplomatic skills make him the Council's preferred choice for sensitive negotiations. Anakin receives them in the throne room he has constructed, a deliberate choice designed to emphasize his new status. The chamber is vast, lined with columns of black marble that stretch toward a vaulted ceiling far overhead. The throne itself sits atop a raised dais, forcing visitors to look up at the Emperor. It is a setting designed for intimidation, and Anakin can feel it working on his visitors, even through their Jedi training. When the Jedi delegation arrives at the Imperial Palace, they find Anakin waiting for them in a throne room that did not exist a week ago. He receives them with every sign of respect, offers them comfortable chairs and refreshments, engages them in philosophical discussion about the nature of balance and the failures of the old systems. He assures them that the Jedi Order has nothing to fear from the Empire. Their temples will remain inviolate. Their traditions will be protected. They will continue to train Force sensitives and serve the galaxy as they always have. The conversation continues for hours, touching on philosophy, history, the nature of the Force itself. Anakin is charming, reasonable, willing to engage with their concerns and address their objections. He speaks of the failures of the Republic without rancor, acknowledging his own role in the system's collapse, while arguing that the Empire represents genuine improvement rather than mere power grab. The Jedi listen carefully, searching for the deception they know must be present. But Anakin has been trained in manipulation by Palpatine himself, and he knows how to present truth in ways that obscure larger lies. Everything he says is technically accurate. The Republic was failing. The Jedi were complicit in that failure. The Empire does offer stability that the old system could not. He simply omits the price that stability demands. All he asks in return is loyalty. Not blind obedience, he clarifies. Not the abandonment of their principles. Simply acknowledgement that the Empire is the legitimate government of the galaxy, and that the Jedi serve within its structure rather than outside it. They will answer to the throne in matters of policy, as any other institution must. They will refrain from political interference that could destabilize the new order. And they will submit their training regimens for review to ensure that future Jedi are prepared for their role in Imperial society. The terms are carefully calibrated to seem reasonable while containing poison pills that the Jedi cannot help but notice. Answering to the throne in matters of policy effectively ends Jedi independence. Refraining from political interference means abandoning their role as peacekeepers and mediators. Submitting training regimens for review gives the Empire veto power over who becomes a Jedi and what they are taught. Ki-Adi-Mundi recognizes the trap, but cannot simply reject the offer outright. Doing so would give the Empire justification for treating the Jedi as enemies, which would lead to the very conflict they are trying to avoid. So he thanks the Emperor for his generous terms and promises to bring them before the Council for consideration. It is the diplomatic response, and it buys time that both sides need. The delegation returns to the temple with these terms, and debate erupts immediately. Some masters see an opportunity for cooperation, a chance to guide the new emperor toward the light if they remain close to him. Others recognize the trap, understanding that submission in matters of policy means submission in all matters, that review of training regimens means control of Jedi education, that answering to the throne means the end of the Order's independence. Master Windu's former allies are particularly vocal in their opposition. They remember how he died, how the official story never quite made sense, how Anakin's rise began with the deaths of the two people most capable of stopping him. They do not trust the Emperor, do not believe his promises, do not accept that cooperation is possible with someone they suspect of murder. The argument rages for days. Council sessions stretch late into the night, with masters presenting arguments, counter-arguments, historical precedents, and prophecy interpretations. Some leave in frustration, others refuse to leave at all, sleeping in the council chamber itself rather than miss any development. Meanwhile, Anakin's agents work silently through the temple, identifying those most likely to resist, cataloging the relationships and alliances that might pose threats. The Chosen have grown to nearly 100 members now, and they are everywhere, disguised as servants, administrators, even visiting knights from remote sectors. They report on every conversation, every debate, every whispered concern. By the time the Council makes its decision, Anakin knows exactly who will need to be eliminated. The final vote is close, far closer than Anakin anticipated. By a margin of just 3 votes, the Council rejects his terms. They will not subordinate the Jedi Order to any secular authority. They will not compromise their independence or their mission. They remain willing to cooperate with the Empire on specific matters, but they will not accept the fundamental restructuring that Anakin demands. The Council's message reaches the Imperial Palace within the hour. Anakin reads it without expression, his face revealing nothing of the calculations running through his mind. He knew rejection was possible, had planned for it, but some part of him hoped the Jedi would be reasonable, that they would recognize the new reality and adapt to it, that he would not have to destroy the institution that raised him. But they have made their choice, and now he will make his. The response comes that very night. The operation has been planned for weeks, contingencies refined, assets positioned. Clone troopers surround the Jedi Temple as darkness falls, their weapons raised, their orders clear. They are the 501st Legion, Anakin's personal command, soldiers who have fought beside him across dozens of battlefields. They are also the most heavily conditioned of all the clone units, their inhibitor chips programmed with special protocols that make them absolutely loyal to one man. Inside, Anakin's agents signal the attack, opening doors and disabling defenses to let the assault teams through. Security systems that should protect the temple instead report false readings. Emergency communications that should summon help are intercepted and neutralized. By the time the first Jedi realizes what is happening, the attackers are already inside. And leading the charge, lightsaber blazing, comes the Emperor himself. The battle for the temple is horrific beyond description. Masters who have spent decades honing their skills fall within seconds, cut down by blaster fire, or overwhelmed by waves of troopers who feel no fear and accept no surrender. Knights die protecting younglings who are slaughtered anyway, their small bodies joining the growing piles of the dead. Even the temple's training droids turn on their owners, reprogrammed by Anakin's agents to target Jedi biosignatures. The Chosen lead the most dangerous assaults, their dark side powers complementing the military precision of the clone troopers. They hunt masters through the temple's labyrinthine corridors, using the Force to track their prey and cut off escape routes. When they find their targets, they do not capture. They do not negotiate. They simply kill, adding to their count of slain Jedi with the enthusiasm of predators thinning a herd. The archives burn first, millennia of accumulated knowledge going up in flames that light the Coruscant night. Then the training halls, where generations of Padawans learned the forms and philosophies that defined the Jedi Order. Then the meditation chambers, the council room, the quarters where masters lived their carefully ordered lives. Section by section, floor by floor, the temple dies. Some Jedi mount effective resistance. Master Tin Dralig, the temple's battlemaster, holds a corridor against dozens of attackers until his body is literally too damaged to continue fighting. Master Shak Ti organizes a defensive line that allows a group of younglings to escape through a hidden tunnel before she is overwhelmed. Night after night falls holding positions that buy precious seconds for others to flee. But it is not enough. It can never be enough. Not against an enemy that knows their defenses, understands their tactics, and has prepared for years for exactly this moment. The Jedi Order, which has protected the Republic for 1,000 generations, dies in a single night of fire and blood. Yoda is in the council chamber when the attack begins, deep in meditation, seeking guidance he has not found. The sound of a blasters jerks him back to reality, and for a moment, he simply cannot process what is happening. The temple, the heart of the Jedi Order, under attack? Impossible. Unthinkable. Then he feels the deaths begin. Each falling Jedi is a wound in the Force, a light extinguished, a connection severed. Yoda feels them all, hundreds of his brothers and sisters dying in terror and confusion. The pain is almost unbearable, wave after wave of loss crashing against his consciousness. He staggers, nearly falls, his ancient body trembling under the weight of so much death. But he forces himself to move, to act, to try to save what can be saved. He makes it as far as the main hallway, before running into a squad of the Chosen. These are not clone troopers, not soldiers following orders. These are Force users, powerful ones, their eyes gleaming with dark side energy as they ignite their lightsabers. Yoda recognizes some of them as former Jedi, students who vanished months ago and were presumed dead. Now he understands where they went. There are 6 of them, arranged in a formation designed to maximize their combined effectiveness. They have trained together, learned to complement each other's strengths and cover each other's weaknesses. Against a normal opponent, they would be nearly unstoppable. Against Yoda, they are merely dangerous. The fight is brutal. Even at nearly 900 years old, Yoda remains one of the most formidable warriors in the galaxy. His green blade moves too fast to track, a blur of emerald light that seems to be everywhere at once. The first Chosen falls in the opening exchange, his lightsaber parried, and his throat opened before he can even register the danger. The second dies trying to avenge him, impaled on a blade that should have been 3 meters away. The remaining 4 adapt, spreading out to attack from multiple angles simultaneously. They use the force to hurl debris, to create waves of pressure, to destabilize the floor beneath Yoda's feet. Their attacks come in coordinated sequences designed to overwhelm even a master's defenses, to create openings that can be exploited. Yoda dances through their assault like a leaf in a hurricane, always moving, never where the attacks expect him to be. He deflects a lightsaber with his blade, absorbs a force push with his palm, redirects a thrown piece of masonry into the face of an attacker. His movements seem almost lazy, conserving energy while his opponents exhaust themselves. The third chosen falls when his coordination falters, his attack arriving a fraction of a second too late to mesh with his companions. Yoda slips through the gap in their formation and takes him through the heart. The fourth dies moments later, victim of a force push that sends her careening into a wall hard enough to shatter bone. The final 2 attackers break and run, their courage finally overwhelmed by the reality of what they face. Yoda lets them go. He has no interest in slaughter, only in survival. And through the chaos of battle, he feels something approaching, a presence so powerful it warps the force around it, like gravity warps space. But for everyone he strikes down, 2 more take their place. And through the chaos of battle, he feels something approaching, a presence so powerful it warps the force around it, like gravity warps space. Anakin Skywalker walks through the carnage with an expression of perfect calm. His lightsaber hangs at his side, not even ignited. He does not need it. Not yet. The chosen part before him, like waves before a ship's prow, and the clone troopers drop to their knees as he passes. He comes to a stop a dozen meters from Yoda, and for a long moment, the 2 most powerful Force users of their generation simply stare at each other. The contrast between them could not be more stark. Yoda, small and ancient, his robes singed and his body bearing the marks of recent combat. Anakin, tall and young, his dark clothing immaculate, his presence in the Force radiating power like a star radiates light. Master and student, light and darkness, the old order and the new. Failed, you have, the ancient master says, his voice heavy with sorrow. Failed the order, failed the Force, failed yourself. Anakin shakes his head slowly, almost pityingly. The order failed first, he replies. Failed the galaxy, failed me. I am simply fixing what was broken. Yoda's expression hardens. His lightsaber ignites with a snap hiss that echoes through the ruined hallway. Then fix it. I must, he says. Their lightsabers ignite simultaneously, blue against green, and the final confrontation between the old ways and the new begins. They fight through the temple's corridors, their blades clashing with such speed and power that the walls themselves crack from the released energy. Yoda draws on centuries of experience, techniques refined across 100 generations of Jedi Masters. Anakin draws on the raw power of the Chosen One, the prophecy's fulfillment, twisted into something the ancient seers never imagined. The duel begins almost gently, each combatant testing the other's defenses, probing for weaknesses, establishing the rhythm of the fight. Yoda's form is flawless, his blade describing perfect arcs that defend and attack in a single motion. Anakin's style is more aggressive, pressing forward with strikes designed to overwhelm rather than finesse. They move through the temple as they fight, battling from corridor to corridor, room to room. The destruction around them is momentarily forgotten as 2 living weapons focus entirely on each other. Clone troopers wisely retreat from their path. Even the chosen give them space, recognizing that this is a confrontation beyond their ability to influence. In the archives, they duel among burning records, centuries of accumulated knowledge providing backdrop to their clash. Yoda uses the environment expertly, leaping from shelf to shelf, using the vertical space to compensate for his smaller stature. Anakin counters with raw power, tearing shelving units from their foundations and hurling them at his opponent. In the training halls, they fight across the same floors, where Anakin once learned the forms and techniques he now uses against his former masters. There is a bitter irony in this, one that Yoda acknowledges with a sad smile, even as he parries another devastating attack. Everything the Jedi taught Anakin has been turned against them. In the council chamber, they clash before the very seats where Yoda and his fellow masters once debated Anakin's future. The holographic communication system is damaged in the fighting, sending ghostly images flickering across the walls. Phantoms of masters now dead, joining the battle as silent witnesses. Yoda fights with everything he has, calling upon reserves of strength and skill that he has not needed in decades. His blade becomes a blur, attacking and defending in the same motion, creating patterns of light too complex for the eye to follow. He lands several strikes against Anakin's defense, forcing the younger man to give ground for the first time. But Anakin adapts. He always adapts. That has always been his greatest strength, the ability to learn from adversity, to turn failure into opportunity. He reads Yoda's patterns, begins to anticipate his movements, starts countering the techniques that were effective moments ago, and underlying everything is that terrible power, the raw force potential that makes Anakin the chosen one. The tide begins to turn. Yoda's attacks are parried with increasing confidence. His defensive patterns are penetrated by strikes that come closer and closer to landing. A force push that should have sent Anakin flying barely moves him at all. A piece of debris hurled with lethal intent is caught and thrown back. It is Yoda who breaks first, not through any failure of skill or spirit, but simply because the universe is unfair. Anakin is younger, stronger, and he fights with a fury that the peaceful Jedi cannot match. A misstep, a moment's hesitation, and Anakin's blade slips past Yoda's guard to score a burning line across his shoulder. The wound is not fatal, but it breaks Yoda's concentration, just long enough for Anakin to press his advantage. A force push sends the ancient master crashing through a wall. A follow-up strike nearly takes his head. Only a desperate leap saves Yoda's life, carrying him through a shattered window and down into the chaos of Coruscant's night. He flees through the city's endless levels, pursued by Anakin's agents, but always staying one step ahead. The Force guides his path, showing him routes and refuges, warning him of dangers in time to avoid them. His shoulder burns with every movement, and exhaustion weighs on him like a physical force. But he cannot stop. To stop is to die, and there are still things he must do. By dawn, he has made it to a hidden safe house, maintained for exactly this kind of emergency, a place known only to the highest-ranking masters, prepared centuries ago against the possibility of exactly this kind of catastrophe. There, he collapses, wounded and exhausted, and utterly defeated. The Jedi Order is destroyed. Everything he has spent his life building lies in ruins, and the darkness he failed to prevent now sits on a throne at the heart of the galaxy. But Yoda is not the only survivor. Across the galaxy, Jedi who were away from the temple when the attack came receive warning messages, automated alerts triggered by the temple's security systems before they were disabled. Some are captured by clone troopers, already waiting to intercept them. Others disappear, going to ground in the countless hiding places the galaxy offers. A few make contact with each other, beginning to form networks of survival and resistance. Obi-Wan Kenobi is on Utapau when he receives the alert. overseeing the final stages of cleanup operations in the Separatist stronghold. His first instinct is to race back to Coruscant, to find Anakin, to understand what has happened. But the message includes a coded warning from Yoda himself, telling him to stay away, to hide, to survive. The order is gone. The prophecy has failed. All that remains is to preserve what knowledge they can and wait for a better day. Obi-Wan wants to argue. He wants to believe that there must be some mistake, that Anakin couldn't really have done this, that his brother still exists somewhere beneath the monster. But the Force tells him otherwise. When he reaches out toward Coruscant, he feels only darkness, a black hole where the temple's light used to shine. And at the center of that darkness, burning with cold fire, he recognizes the presence he trained from childhood. Anakin is gone. Whatever remains is something else entirely. Obi-Wan goes to ground, disappearing into the galactic underworld with the skills he learned as a Padawan under Qui-Gon Jinn. He moves from world to world, never staying long, always watching for pursuit. The Empire issues warrants for his arrest, naming him a traitor and a terrorist, offering substantial rewards for information leading to his capture. But Obi-Wan is careful, and the galaxy is vast, and eventually the active searches begin to die down. Padme learns of the temple's destruction from Bail Organa, who contacts her through their secure channel, with his voice shaking with barely contained emotion. He tells her that the Jedi are gone, that Anakin led the attack personally, that the Empire is cracking down on any sign of dissent. He tells her that she needs to run, tonight, before Anakin realizes she is a threat. But she is too late. Before she can even begin packing, Anakin's shuttle lands on the private platform of their apartment. He walks through the door with an expression of forced calm, his eyes scanning the room until they find her. For a long moment, neither speaks. Then Padme asks him if it's true. Did he really destroy the Jedi? Did he really murder hundreds of people, including children in their own home? Anakin tries to explain. He speaks of necessity, of surgical action to prevent a greater catastrophe, of a tumor that had to be removed before it killed the patient. The Jedi would have opposed him. They would have fought the Empire, plunging the galaxy back into war. This way, the conflict is contained, the casualties minimized, the outcome certain. Everything he did for the galaxy, for their children, for her. Padme listens with growing horror. She has always known that Anakin had darkness in him, has always worried about what might happen if he ever truly let it loose. But she never imagined this, never conceived that the man she loved could become something so monstrous. When he finishes speaking, she asks one question. How many children, how many younglings died in the temple tonight? Anakin has no answer. He doesn't know the exact number. He didn't think it mattered. They were just obstacles, threats to be neutralized. And besides, some of the chosen retrieved the youngest ones for re-education. The order was corrupt at its foundation. These children were better off freed from its influence, able to learn a truer understanding of the Force. Padme stares at him as if seeing him for the first time. This is not the man who held her on Naboo's lake country, who confessed his love with such vulnerability, who married her in secret because he couldn't bear to be apart. This is a stranger wearing her husband's face, mouthing justifications for atrocities with the casual ease of someone discussing supply logistics. She tells him that she is taking the children and leaving. She will not raise her son and daughter in an empire built on murdered children. She will not spend another night in the same home as someone who could do what he has done. The marriage is over. The love is over. Everything is over. Anakin's expression flickers. For just a moment, she sees something like pain beneath the mask, something that might be the last remnant of the man she married. But it passes quickly, replaced by the cold calculation that has become his default state. He tells her that she can't leave. The children are heirs to the throne. They are assets of the Empire, and their safety is a matter of state security. He speaks of protection, of providing for them, of the future he will build. His tone is almost gentle, as if explaining something obvious to a child. Padme reaches for the blaster hidden in her robes. She knows it won't be enough. She knows that even if she empties the entire power pack, she probably won't hurt him. But she cannot simply surrender. She cannot let her children become what he is becoming. The weapon doesn't even clear the holster before Anakin's force grip closes on her hand. He sighs with apparent disappointment, shaking his head slowly. "Padme, please. Don't make this harder than it has to be." She fights anyway. She kicks, scratches, bites, screaming for her children, for her freedom, for the husband she has lost. Anakin restrains her with minimal effort, and she can see how little her resistance means to him. He is a god now, and she is just another mortal who doesn't understand. The man who once would have done anything to protect her now treats her like an inconvenience, a problem to be managed rather than a partner to be cherished. But then something unexpected happens. Through the Force, Anakin senses a presence at the door. Multiple presences, actually, armed and ready for violence. Bail Organa's voice calls out, demanding that the senator from Naboo be released immediately. Anakin is genuinely surprised. Organa should be in the Senate chamber, not here with what appears to be a team of armed security officers. The Alderaanian must have moved faster than anticipated, must have prepared contingencies that Anakin's intelligence missed. The realization is troubling. If Bail has been planning this, who else has been plotting against him without his knowledge? He releases Padme and turns to face the new threat. But as he does, she seizes her moment. She grabs the twins from their crib, one in each arm, and runs for the back entrance where Bail's people have already disabled the security locks. Luke wakes and begins to cry, but Leia remains silent, her dark eyes watching everything with an intensity that seems impossible for an infant. Anakin could stop her. He could pull her back with the Force, could freeze her in place, could even bring the ceiling down to block her path. The power is there, waiting to be used, straining against his control like a hunting beast on a leash. But something stays his hand. Perhaps it is the last trace of the love he once felt, the echo of the man who would have burned the galaxy to save her. Perhaps it is calculated strategy, letting her run so he can track her to other enemies. Perhaps it is simply shock at how quickly his carefully laid plans are unraveling. The realization that absolute power does not mean absolute control. Whatever the reason, Padme makes it through the door with both children, and Bail's security team provides covering fire as they retreat to a hidden speeder. The journey through the city's underlevels is harrowing. Every shadow potentially hiding Imperial agents, every checkpoint a potential trap. But Bail's people know their business, and within hours they have reached a hidden hangar where a ship waits to take them to safety. The escape route has been planned for months, refined through countless hours of careful analysis. Every relay point has been scouted, every potential obstacle anticipated, every contingency accounted for. The ship that waits for them is unremarkable, deliberately chosen to blend in with the thousands of similar vessels that move through Coruscant's shipping lanes every day. Its transponder codes have been falsified, Its cargo manifests have been forged. Its flight plan leads to a destination that exists only on paper. The pilot is a former Republic naval officer who lost her entire family when Anakin's forces destroyed a convoy they were traveling in. She has been waiting for a chance to strike back, to do something that matters, to make the Empire pay for what it took from her. When Bail approached her with this mission, she accepted without hesitation. She would fly into the heart of the Imperial Palace itself if it meant hurting the man who destroyed her life. The journey through Coruscant's lower levels is tense. Every sensor contact could be an Imperial patrol. Every communication query could be the start of a pursuit. The pilot keeps her voice calm as she responds to routine traffic control hails, giving the ship's falsified identification, confirming its falsified destination, maintaining the pretense that this is just another cargo run among millions. Padme sits in the passenger compartment, her children clutched to her chest. Luke has finally stopped crying, soothed by her presence and the gentle vibration of the ship's engines. Leia remains silent, watching everything with those dark, knowing eyes. Padme wonders what her daughter is thinking, whether some part of her infant mind understands what is happening, whether the force that flows through her blood is already showing her glimpses of the future. The ship breaks atmosphere without incident, climbing through Coruscant's crowded orbital space toward the jump point that will take them to safety. Below, the planet city falls away, its endless lights shrinking until they merge into a single glowing sphere. Somewhere down there, Anakin is probably already organizing pursuit. Somewhere down there, the machinery of Empire is grinding into motion, trying to find them before they can disappear. But the galaxy is vast, and Bail's preparations have been thorough. The ship jumps to hyperspace moments after clearing Coruscant's mass shadow, its trail immediately lost in the countless other vessels making similar journeys. Pursuit ships that launch minutes later find nothing to follow. No trail to track, no trace of where the fugitives have gone. Padme holds her children close as the ship lifts off, as Coruscant's endless cityscape falls away beneath them. She does not look back. There is nothing left to see except the ruins of everything she once believed in. The man she married is gone. The Republic she served is gone. The future she imagined is gone. All that remains is the desperate hope that somewhere in the galaxy there is a place where her children can grow up free. The first safe house is on a moon in the Outer Rim, a place so remote that it doesn't even appear on most star charts. Padme and her children spend 3 weeks there, recovering from the stress of their escape, planning the next stage of their journey. Bail visits when he can, bringing news from Coruscant, updating her on the Empire's efforts to find them. The search is massive, unprecedented. Anakin has mobilized every resource at his disposal, from the Imperial Navy to his network of spies, to the Chosen themselves. They scour the galaxy sector by sector, following every lead, investigating every rumor. Thousands of ships are stopped and searched. Hundreds of people are interrogated, sometimes harshly, about any knowledge they might have of the fugitives. But Padme has advantages that the Empire's vast resources cannot overcome. She has friends in unexpected places, people who owe her favors from her time as senator, people who hate the Empire and are willing to risk everything to help those who oppose it. She has Bail's organization, small but dedicated, experts at moving people and resources without leaving traces. And she has luck, the kind of luck that comes from being on the right side of history. They move again and again and again, never staying in one place long enough to be found, never trusting anyone who hasn't been thoroughly vetted, never letting down their guard, even for a moment. It is an exhausting existence, a life of constant vigilance and fear, but it keeps them alive. It keeps her children safe. By the time Anakin deals with the distraction and makes it to the landing platform, they are gone. His sensors show a small ship breaking Coruscant's atmosphere, heading for deep space. He could pursue. He could order the planetary defense grid to shoot them down. The weapons are charged, the targeting systems locked, the order waiting to be given. But he holds back. Part of him wants to destroy them. The rage is there, burning in his chest, demanding release. They have defied him. They have taken what is his. They have made him look weak in front of his enemies. Every instinct honed by years of war screams at him to eliminate the threat, to demonstrate that no one escapes the Emperor's reach. But another part, the part that still remembers what it felt like to love, cannot give the order. Those are his children on that ship, his blood, his legacy. To destroy them would be to destroy the last piece of Padme that remains in the galaxy, the only proof that what they had was ever real. Let them run. Let them believe they have escaped. Their ship will be tracked, their communications monitored, their every move observed. When the time is right, he will find them. He will reclaim his children, and he will make an example of everyone who helped take them from him. But not today. Today, he will let them go. The decision feels like weakness, and he hates himself for it. The Emperor cannot afford sentiment. The Chosen One cannot allow personal attachments to interfere with his mission. And yet, watching that ship disappear into hyperspace, Anakin knows that he has crossed a line that can never be uncrossed. He has let something matter more than power. He has allowed love, or its ghost, to stay his hand. It is, he tells himself, a tactical decision. Nothing more. The children are more valuable alive than dead. Their existence gives him leverage, options, possibilities that would be foreclosed by their deaths. When the time comes to reclaim them, they will serve his purposes better than ashes ever could. The lie is almost convincing. Almost. But first, there is an empire to consolidate. The weeks that follow see Anakin tightening his grip on every lever of power in the galaxy. The Senate is restructured, its authority reduced to rubber-stamping imperial edicts, while regional governors assume real control of their sectors. The military is expanded, with clone troopers gradually supplemented by recruited soldiers whose loyalty is to the Empire itself, rather than genetic programming. The Chosen grow in number and influence, becoming the enforcement arm of the new order, answering only to the Emperor himself. Resistance emerges, of course. Worlds that prospered under the Republic's laissez-faire approach find the Empire's demands for centralized control suffocating. Systems with strong local traditions chafe under imposed uniformity. Species that were marginalized under the old order find themselves even more oppressed under the new. And everywhere, there are those who simply cannot accept living under tyranny, who would rather die fighting than survive kneeling. Bail Organa becomes the public face of this resistance. From hidden bases scattered across the Outer Rim, he coordinates the emerging rebel alliance, bringing together disparate groups who share nothing except hatred of the Empire. Mon Mothma provides the political vision, articulating an alternative to imperial rule that appeals to idealists across the galaxy. Padme, though weakened by grief and the stress of constant flight, offers her experience as a senator and her symbolic value as the wife who rejected the Emperor. The twins grow up in hiding, moved from world to stay ahead of imperial searches. Leia is raised primarily by Bail and his wife Breha, learning the arts of diplomacy and leadership that will serve her well in years to come. She takes to politics naturally, her mother's daughter, in every way that matters. By the age of 12, she can read a room better than senators 3 times her age. By 15, she is secretly coordinating supply runs to rebel cells. By 18, she has become one of the Alliance's most effective leaders, her true identity known only to a handful of trusted individuals. Luke is more problematic. His force potential, a beacon that could draw the Emperor's attention. Obi-Wan takes personal responsibility for his training, teaching him to control his powers while suppressing his presence in the Force. They live as hermits on forgotten worlds, moving whenever the old master senses danger approaching. It is a lonely life for a young man, but Luke never complains. He understands the stakes, even if he does not yet know the full truth of his heritage. The training is rigorous, but careful. Obi-Wan teaches Luke the forms and philosophies of the Jedi, but he does so without the rigid structure of the temple. He allows questions that would have been discouraged in the old order. He acknowledges doubts that masters were trained to suppress. He tells stories of the Jedi as they were, flaws and all, so that Luke can learn from their mistakes, as well as their wisdom. And always, hovering at the edge of their conversations, is the shadow of Anakin Skywalker. Obi-Wan speaks of him often, describing the brilliant pilot, the loyal friend, the powerful Jedi who was once the best of them all. He tells Luke about their adventures during the Clone Wars, about the times Anakin saved his life, about the bond they shared. But he never tells Luke the most important truth, that the Emperor he is being trained to fight is his own father. Years pass, the Empire entrenches, the rebellion grows, and Anakin Skywalker, Emperor of the Galaxy, discovers that absolute power brings absolute loneliness. He rules from a throne room that spans an entire floor of the Imperial Palace, surrounded by the machinery of absolute power. Advisors brief him on the state of the galaxy. Generals report on military operations. Administrators present endless streams of data about taxation, infrastructure, resource allocation. The business of empire is consuming, leaving little time for reflection or doubt. But late at night, when the palace is quiet and his duties are complete, Anakin sits alone in his chambers and stares at the stars. He thinks of Tatooine, of a boy who dreamed of flying among those distant lights. He thinks of his mother, whose death he could not prevent. He thinks of Qui-Gon Jinn, who saw potential in a slave child that no one else noticed. He thinks of Obi-Wan, the brother he never had, now hunted as a criminal. He thinks of Padme, the angel he loved more than life itself, now his sworn enemy. He thinks of his children, growing up somewhere in the galaxy, taught to hate him. The darkness is cold comfort in these moments. It promises power, and it delivers. It promises strength, and he is strong. But it cannot fill the hollow space where his soul used to be. It cannot bring back the people he has lost. It cannot make him anything other than what he has become. The loneliest man in the galaxy. The chosen whisper among themselves about the Emperor's melancholy. Some see it as weakness, an opportunity to advance their own positions. Others recognize it for what it is, the price of the power they all seek. A few, the oldest and most experienced, understand that their master's suffering is a warning. The dark side takes as much as it gives, perhaps more. Sometimes he wonders if he made a mistake, if there was another path, another choice, another way. If he had let Windu kill Palpatine and simply returned to being a Jedi, what would his life look like now? Would he and Padme be raising their children in peace? Would he still have a brother in Obi-Wan? Would he be happy? But these thoughts are weakness, and he has no patience for weakness. He made his choice. He built his empire. He did what had to be done. And if happiness was the price, well, happiness was always an illusion anyway. The dark side knows this truth. Peace is a lie. Only through victory can chains be broken. He has achieved the greatest victory in galactic history. He is free of every chain that once bound him. So why does he feel more trapped than ever? The answer, if he were honest with himself, is simple. He is alone. Truly, completely, utterly alone. Every relationship he ever valued has been destroyed by his own actions. The Jedi are dead or scattered. His wife is his enemy. His children are being raised to destroy him. His former master wanders the galaxy in exile. Even the chosen, for all their loyalty, are not companions. They are tools, instruments of his will, no more capable of genuine connection than the clone troopers who serve them. There is no one in the galaxy who loves Anakin Skywalker. There is only fear, obedience, and the endless hunger for power that defines the dark side. He has become exactly what Palpatine was, a creature of pure ambition wrapped in the trappings of authority. The irony would be amusing if it weren't so devastating. The Empire endures. 10 years after its founding, it stretches across the galaxy, absolute and unchallenged. There are no more wars to fight, no more enemies to conquer. The rebellion exists, but it is a nuisance, not a threat. Obi-Wan remains in hiding. The surviving Jedi are scattered and broken. The Senate is tame. The military is loyal. Every institution of power answers to one man, and that man has never been more powerful or more empty. The rebellion that opposes him is a patchwork of desperate idealists and hardened pragmatists. It operates from hidden bases scattered across the outer rim, moving constantly to stay ahead of Imperial intelligence. Its fleet is cobbled together from donated ships, captured vessels, and obsolete craft that should have been scrapped decades ago. Its army is a mix of professional soldiers, planetary militias, and volunteers who have never held a weapon before. And yet it endures. Despite everything the Empire throws at it, despite the overwhelming disparity in resources and manpower, the rebellion refuses to die. Every time the Imperials destroy one cell, 2 more spring up to take its place. Every defeat is spun into a rallying cry. Every martyr becomes a symbol that inspires 100 new recruits. Bail Organa coordinates the political side of the resistance, using his position as senator to funnel information and resources to rebel forces while maintaining a facade of loyalty to the Empire. It is dangerous work, requiring him to live a double life that could unravel at any moment. But he believes in the cause too deeply to do otherwise. Mon Mothma provides the philosophical foundation, articulating a vision of restored democracy that appeals to idealists across the galaxy. Her speeches, distributed through underground channels, remind people what they are fighting for. Not just against the Empire, but for something better. Something that values freedom over security, compassion over strength. And Padme, though weakened by years of grief and hardship, remains their symbol. The wife who rejected the Emperor, the mother who chose exile over complicity. Her story has become legend among the rebels, proof that even those closest to tyranny can choose a different path. It is Padme's death that finally cracks the facade. She dies quietly, in a rebel safe house on a nameless moon, her body simply giving out after years of stress and sorrow. The doctors say her heart was too damaged by grief to continue, that the emotional toll of the past decade finally exceeded what any human body could bear. Bail is with her at the end, holding her hand, listening to her final words. She speaks of her children first, as she always has. She asks Bail to tell them that she loved them more than anything in the galaxy, that everything she did, every sacrifice she made was for them. That she never stopped believing they would be the ones to make things right. Her voice is weak, barely a whisper, but the conviction behind the words is absolute. Then she speaks of Leia. She asks Bail to watch over her daughter, to guide her, to help her become the leader Padmé always knew she could be. She says that Leia has her fire, her determination, her inability to accept injustice. These qualities will serve her well in the struggle to come. She speaks of Luke, whom she has seen only a handful of times since infancy. She asks that he be told about his mother, not just the symbol the rebellion has made of her, but the real woman. Her flaws as well as her strengths, her doubts as well as her convictions. She wants him to know that she was human, that she made mistakes, that she loved imperfectly but completely. And finally, with tears streaming down her face, she speaks of Anakin. The man she loved is gone, she says. She knows this. She accepted it years ago. But she cannot die without saying that she grieves for him as surely as if he had died in the Chancellor's office. The boy who freed himself from slavery. The Jedi who defied the order to marry her. The father who held their children with such wonder in his eyes. That person deserved better than what he became. She does not forgive the Emperor. She cannot. But she mourns Anakin Skywalker. And she hopes that somehow, somewhere, some echo of him remains. She dies with the Coruscant sunrise, her hand still clasped in Bail's, her eyes closed as if in peaceful sleep. The rebels who served with her gather to pay their respects, hardened soldiers weeping for a woman who inspired them to believe that the fight was worth fighting. Her body is cremated according to Naboo custom, her ashes scattered on a world she never visited, but that reminded her of home. The news reaches Anakin through his network of spies and informants. He receives it in the throne room, surrounded by courtiers and petitioners, in the middle of hearing a dispute about mining rights in the Kessel sector. The agent's words are clinical, professional. The target is deceased, natural causes, no indication of foul play. Anakin nods and continues with the hearing as if nothing has happened. But the courtiers notice that his voice has changed. The easy authority that usually characterizes his judgments is gone, replaced by something mechanical, almost robotic. His eyes, which typically scan the room with predatory awareness, are fixed on some middle distance that no one else can see. When the hearing ends and the petitioners are dismissed, the Emperor sits motionless on his throne for a long time, staring at nothing. But later, alone in his chambers, he allows himself to feel. Not much, just a crack in the walls he has built. Just a moment of remembering what it was like to love her, to be loved by her, to believe that they could build a life together. The memories come unbidden. Their first meeting on Tatooine, when she was a queen in disguise, and he was a slave boy who thought she was an angel. The years of separation, when he dreamed of her every night and counted the days until he would see her again. Their reunion on Naboo, when he confessed his love with the desperation of someone who knew it was forbidden. Their secret wedding, witnessed only by the droids who had accompanied them across the galaxy. The moment she told him she was pregnant, the joy that overwhelmed him despite all his fears. And then the darker memories, the growing distance as his power increased, the arguments about politics, about methods, about the direction the galaxy was taking, the horror in her eyes when she finally understood what he had become, the moment she fled with their children, choosing exile over complicity, the years of hunting, of near misses, of intelligence reports that always seemed to arrive just too late. He could have saved her. If he had let her go in the beginning, let her take the children to some peaceful world beyond his reach, she might have lived. But his pride, his need for control, his absolute certainty that he was right and everyone else was wrong, kept him hunting her long after any strategic justification faded. He hounded her across the galaxy because he couldn't accept that she had rejected him. And now she is gone, and he can never make it right. The grief turns to rage. The rage turns to cold determination. If he cannot have Padme, he will have his children. They are the only piece of her that remains, the living proof that what they had was real. He doubles the resources dedicated to finding them. He personally reviews every intelligence report, every rumored sighting, every whisper from the underworld. Somewhere in the galaxy, his heirs are growing up in ignorance of their true heritage. He will find them. He will bring them home. He will teach them what they are meant to be. But first, there is an empire to consolidate. The months after Padme's death see Anakin throwing himself into the work of governance with renewed intensity. He crushes rebellions with brutal efficiency. He purges officials suspected of disloyalty. He expands the chosen, adding new dark side practitioners to his inner circle. Activity becomes a shield against grief, against doubt, against the hollow emptiness that threatens to consume him whenever he stops moving. Luke Skywalker is 20 years old when he learns the truth about his father. Obi-Wan has put off this conversation for as long as possible, dreading the moment when he would have to shatter the young man's illusions. But Luke's training has reached a stage where the truth cannot be avoided any longer. He is strong in the Force, stronger than Obi-Wan ever was, and he has begun asking questions that have no innocent answers. The questions started small. Who was his father? Where did he come from? Why did the Emperor hunt them so relentlessly when there were so many other Jedi survivors to pursue? Obi-Wan deflected at first, offering half-truths and misdirections that satisfied Luke's curiosity without revealing the devastating truth. But as Luke's power grew, so did his ability to sense deception. He knew his master was hiding something. He just didn't know what. The final confrontation came after a training session that left both of them exhausted. Luke had been practicing the more advanced forms of lightsaber combat, his natural talent pushing him to a level of skill that would have made him a Jedi Knight in the Old Order. As they rested, he asked the question that Obi-Wan had been dreading for 2 decades. Why does the Emperor want me specifically? What makes me so important? Obi-Wan could have lied. He had lies prepared, comfortable fictions that would have explained the situation without revealing the truth. But looking at Luke's face, seeing the earnest trust in those familiar eyes, he found that he couldn't speak them. This young man deserved the truth, no matter how painful it might be. They sit together on a remote world, whose name has long since been forgotten by official records. The sky is purple with the light of a dying sun, and the wind carries the scent of alien flowers. Obi-Wan speaks quietly, telling the story he has rehearsed 1,000 times in his mind. He tells Luke about Anakin's fall, about the massacre at the temple, about Padme's death. He tells him that the Emperor is his father, and that everything the Empire represents is the twisted legacy of a man who was once the best of them all. The story takes hours to tell. Obi-Wan leaves nothing out, describing Anakin's childhood on Tatooine, his training at the temple, his heroism during the Clone Wars. He speaks of the man he knew, the friend he loved, the brother he would have died for without hesitation. And then he describes the fall, the choices that led Anakin from hero to monster, the corruption that transformed the best of the Jedi into the worst of the Sith. He speaks of Padme with particular tenderness, knowing how much it will mean to Luke to understand his mother. He describes her courage, her compassion, her unwavering commitment to justice, even when the galaxy seemed determined to crush every trace of hope. He tells Luke how she refused to give up on Anakin, even when everyone else had, how she hoped until the very end that the man she married might still exist somewhere beneath the Emperor's mask. And he tells Luke about himself, about his failures as a teacher and a friend. He takes responsibility for not seeing the darkness growing in Anakin, for not being there when his apprentice needed him most, for every mistake that contributed to the catastrophe. If he had been wiser, more attentive, more willing to challenge the Council's rigid doctrines, perhaps things could have been different. Perhaps the galaxy would not be groaning under the Empire's heel. Luke listens in silence. His face reveals nothing, a skill Obi-Wan has taught him well. But in the Force, the old master can feel a storm of emotion, grief, anger, confusion, and something else. Something that might be hope. When Obi-Wan finishes, Luke asks one question. Is there any good left in him? The question hangs in the air between them, weighted with implications that neither can fully articulate. Obi-Wan wants to say no. He wants to tell Luke that Anakin Skywalker is dead, that only the Emperor remains, that there is nothing to salvage from the wreckage of his oldest friend's soul. That would be the safe answer, the practical answer, the answer that might protect Luke from a confrontation that could destroy him. But he has never been able to lie to this young man, and he will not start now. I don't know, he admits. Once, I would have said he was the best man I ever knew. Now, after everything he has done, I cannot imagine any light remaining. But you are his son. You share his blood, his power, his connection to the Force. Perhaps you can sense what I cannot. Perhaps you can reach what I never could. Luke is quiet for a long time. The sunset deepens around them, the purple sky darkening toward night. Stars begin to appear, the same stars that Luke has watched his entire life, dreaming of the galaxy beyond his hidden refuge. Somewhere out there, his father sits on a throne built on blood and betrayal. Somewhere out there, his sister fights a war that seems impossible to win. Somewhere out there, the future waits to be shaped by choices not yet made. Then he tells Obi-Wan that he wants to confront his father. Not to fight him, not yet, but to see for himself what the man has become. To understand what happened, why it happened, whether there is any path back from the darkness. Obi-Wan's reaction is immediate and visceral. No, absolutely not. It's suicide. The words tumble out in a rush, driven by 20 years of fear and grief and desperate hope that this young man will not follow his father into destruction. Obi-Wan argues against this with everything he has. He describes what Anakin has become, the atrocities he has committed, the millions who have died under his rule. He speaks of the Jedi Temple, of the children slaughtered in their sleep, of the friends and colleagues who trusted Anakin and paid for that trust with their lives. He warns of the danger, the near certainty that Luke will be captured or killed, the risk to everything the rebellion has built. He speaks of what it will do to Leia if Luke dies. The twins have only recently discovered each other, have only begun to build the relationship that was denied them by circumstance. To lose her brother now, just when she has found him, would be a blow that might break even her formidable spirit. He speaks of what it will do to the rebellion. Luke is not just another Jedi trainee. He is a symbol, a hope, the living proof that the Empire's power is not absolute. His death or capture would devastate morale, would validate every argument that resistance is futile, would hand the Emperor a propaganda victory that could take decades to overcome. But Luke is implacable. He knows the odds. He knows the danger. He knows that this could be the last thing he ever does. But he also knows something else, something he cannot fully explain. There is a conflict within the Emperor. Luke can feel it across the stars, a war between light and darkness that has never truly ended. The Force whispers to him in dreams, showing him glimpses of a man torn between what he has become and what he once was. If that conflict exists, then redemption is possible. And if redemption is possible, Luke has to try. Not because it is strategically sound, not because it serves the rebellion's goals, but because the man in the palace on Coruscant is his father, and Luke Skywalker does not give up on family. The journey to the Imperial capital takes 2 weeks. Luke travels alone, refusing to let anyone else risk themselves for what he knows is probably a suicide mission. He uses skills Obi-Wan taught him to evade Imperial patrols, relying on the Force to guide him through checkpoint after checkpoint. By the time he reaches Coruscant, the entire galaxy seems to be holding its breath. The Imperial capital is everything Luke expected, and nothing like he imagined. He has seen hollows of Coruscant his entire life, the endless cityscape that covers an entire planet. But experiencing it firsthand is overwhelming. The scale is beyond comprehension. Towers that stretch kilometers into the sky, traffic lanes that carry billions of beings in an endless flow, the constant throb of a civilization that never truly sleeps. And at the center of it all, visible from anywhere on the planet, rises the Imperial Palace. It is a monument to power, a structure so massive that it creates its own microclimate. The dark spires pierce the clouds, and at night they glow with a crimson light that can be seen from orbit. This is where his father rules. This is where the fate of the galaxy will be decided. He doesn't sneak into the palace. He doesn't disguise himself as a servant or a petitioner. He walks through the front entrance, unarmed except for his lightsaber, and surrenders to the first patrol he encounters. The guards are confused. This young man claims to be Jedi, claims to have information for the Emperor himself, claims to be willing to turn himself in peacefully. It could be a trick, an assassination attempt, a rebel operation. But there is something about his eyes, a calm certainty that makes even hardened soldiers hesitate. Word reaches the throne room within minutes. The Emperor has standing orders about any Jedi who might be captured. Bring them directly to him, unharmed, for personal interrogation. But something about this particular report makes Anakin's heart beat faster. A young man, approximately 20 years old, strong in the Force, claiming important information. It could be anyone, but somehow Anakin knows. His son has come home. The guards bring Luke to the throne room through endless corridors of black marble and red light. The Emperor's chosen line the walls, their lightsabers ready, their eyes gleaming with barely suppressed hunger. These are warriors who have killed Jedi, who have hunted them across the galaxy, who would love nothing more than to add one more to their count. But the Emperor's orders are clear, and they let the prisoner pass. Luke walks with his head high, refusing to show fear, even though his heart races in his chest. The throne room is designed to intimidate, every element calculated to remind visitors of the Emperor's absolute power. The ceiling is lost in shadow far overhead. The columns that line the approach could hide 100 assassins. The throne itself sits atop a dais that requires visitors to look up, to acknowledge their subordination through the simple geometry of the room. Luke takes in his surroundings without obvious reaction. He notes the positions of the guards, the layout of the room, the distances between potential cover. Training runs deep, and part of his mind is always planning, always preparing. But another part, the deeper part, is focused entirely on the figure sitting on the throne at the far end of the chamber. The first thing Luke notices is how ordinary his father looks. After 20 years of legend, of stories that made him seem more god than man, the reality is almost anticlimactic. Just a man, sitting in a chair, wearing dark robes. Not particularly tall, not obviously muscular. Nothing about his physical appearance suggests the terrifying power that has brought the galaxy to its knees. And then Luke reaches out with the Force, and ordinary disappears entirely. The presence that surrounds Anakin Skywalker is unlike anything Luke has ever encountered. It is vast, oceanic, a swirling maelstrom of power that defies comprehension. Light and darkness war within it, neither dominant, both contributing to something greater than either alone. This is what it means to be the Chosen One, Luke realizes. This is the power that was prophesied millennia before his father's birth. It is beautiful and terrible and absolutely overwhelming. The Emperor is smaller than Luke imagined. After 20 years of legend, of stories that made him seem more god than man, the reality is almost anticlimactic. Just a man, sitting in a chair, wearing dark robes. His face is older than Luke expected, lined with the weight of years and power. His eyes are the strangest feature, shifting between blue and gold, as if two beings war within him, light and darkness in endless conflict. Anakin studies his son with equal intensity. He sees Padme in the shape of Luke's face, the set of his jaw, the way he carries himself with quiet dignity despite impossible odds. He sees himself in the young man's stance, the fighter's balance, the Force presence that fills the room like light fills a clear day. But there is something else, too, something that Anakin did not expect. Looking at Luke is like looking into a mirror that shows not what he is, but what he might have been. The same power, the same potential, but uncorrupted by the choices that led Anakin to this throne. His son is everything he was before the darkness claimed him, and seeing it is more painful than any wound. This is his child, his heir, the legacy that he has spent a decade trying to reclaim. The silence stretches between them, father and son, separated by 20 years and a galaxy of suffering. The guards shift uneasily, unused to their master's hesitation. The Chosen whisper among themselves, wondering what game is being played. But Anakin ignores them all, his attention fixed entirely on the young man, who has walked willingly into the heart of his power. Then Anakin waves his hand, and the guards file out. The Chosen hesitate, unwilling to leave their master alone with a potential threat. Another gesture, sharper this time, and they go. The massive doors close with a boom that echoes through the empty chamber. Luke and Anakin are alone. The Emperor rises from his throne and descends the steps slowly, his eyes never leaving his son's face. There is no aggression in his posture, no threat in his movement. He simply wants to be closer, to look at this young man who is the living embodiment of everything he has lost. He circles Luke slowly, examining him from every angle, like a collector appraising a rare artifact. His presence in the Force probes gently at Luke's defenses, testing without attacking, curious rather than hostile. Luke allows the examination without resistance, understanding that his father needs to satisfy himself that this is not some elaborate trick. The examination takes several minutes. When it is done, Anakin returns to face Luke directly, standing close enough to touch. For a long moment, neither speaks. Then the Emperor's hand rises, reaching toward Luke's face with fingers that tremble almost imperceptibly. He stops just short of contact. His hand hangs in the air between them, suspended by uncertainty. To touch his son, to make this real in the most fundamental way possible, seems to require a courage that even absolute power cannot provide. Luke takes the decision away from him. He steps forward, closing the remaining distance, letting his father's hand rest against his cheek. The touch is electric, sending shockwaves through the Force that both of them feel. Something that has been broken for 20 years begins, tentatively, to heal. Luke speaks first. His voice is steady, calm, the product of years of Jedi training. He says his name. He says that he knows who his father is and what he has done. He says that he has not come to fight, but to understand. Anakin laughs softly. It is not a cruel sound, merely tired, weighted with decades of decisions that cannot be undone. He says that there is nothing to understand. He made choices. He built an empire. He did what was necessary to bring order to a galaxy that was tearing itself apart. The details are complex, but the essence is simple. Power exists to be used, and he has used it. Luke shakes his head. He did not come all this way to accept easy answers. He asks about the Jedi Temple, about the children who died there, about the hundreds of thousands, millions, who have died under Imperial rule. Do those lives mean nothing? Were they all just necessary sacrifices for order? The question hits harder than Luke intends. Anakin's expression flickers, the mask slipping for just a moment. He tries to explain, to justify, to contextualize. The Jedi would have opposed him. Their opposition would have meant civil war. The galaxy had just survived one war, and it could not endure another. By acting decisively, he prevented far greater suffering than he caused. The math is cold, but it is accurate. The arguments flow smoothly, well practiced after years of internal debate and public justification. Anakin speaks of the corruption he saw in the Republic, the blindness of the Jedi Council, the manipulation that Palpatine practiced for decades without anyone noticing. He speaks of his frustration at being used as a weapon while being treated as a threat. He speaks of the impossible choice he faced in the Chancellor's office and the clarity that came when he finally stopped letting others define his destiny. Luke shakes his head slowly. He says that he has studied history, talked to survivors, seen the records the Empire tried to destroy. The Jedi at the Temple were not an army. They were teachers, healers, guardians. Many of them had already expressed willingness to work with the new government. By attacking without warning, Anakin didn't prevent a war. He simply murdered people who trusted him. And then there were the children. Luke's voice hardens as he speaks of them. Younglings who had never harmed anyone, who posed no threat to anyone, who trusted the adults around them to keep them safe. They died in their dormitories, in their training rooms, in the very places where they should have been most protected. Some of them probably called for help from the man who came to kill them, not understanding until the very end that he was the danger they should have feared. The words cut deeper than any lightsaber. Anakin has justified the temple attack 1,000 times, to others and to himself. He has built walls of rationalization around that night, arguing that it was necessary, that the order was corrupt, that the children would have grown up to be his enemies. But hearing it described through Luke's eyes strips away those comfortable lies. He sees the temple as his son sees it, not a military objective, but a massacre, not a strategic necessity, but a monstrous crime. The words hang in the air between them. For a long moment, Anakin says nothing. His eyes are distant, focused on memories he usually keeps locked away. When he finally speaks, his voice is rougher than before. Then he asks Luke why he came. If not to fight, if not to assassinate, then why risk everything to stand before a man he believes to be a monster? Luke takes a deep breath. This is the moment he has been preparing for his entire life, though he didn't know it until recently. Every lesson Obi-Wan taught him, every story he heard about his father, every moment of meditation when he reached out across the stars and felt the conflict in Anakin's heart. All of it has led to this. He says that he came because he felt something across the galaxy. A conflict, a war within the Emperor that mirrors the war without. He came because despite everything, despite the atrocities and the tyranny and the darkness, he believes that Anakin Skywalker still exists somewhere beneath the crown. He came to offer something that no one else in the galaxy would ever give the Emperor. Forgiveness. The word strikes Anakin like a physical blow. He actually takes a step back, his composure cracking further. No one has offered him forgiveness. No one has suggested that what he has done can be forgiven. His enemies want him dead. His subjects want his power. His chosen want his approval. But no one, not once in 20 years, has looked at him with compassion rather than fear or hatred. Luke continues speaking, his voice gentle now. He says that he knows the past cannot be undone. The deaths, the suffering, the betrayals, none of it can be taken back. The children in the temple will never grow up. The Jedi who trusted Anakin will never return. Padme will never hold her grandchildren. These wounds are permanent, scars the galaxy will carry for generations. But the future is not yet written. Anakin can continue down this path, ruling through fear, until eventually someone stronger or luckier brings him down. History will remember him as a tyrant, a monster, a cautionary tale. His children will inherit a galaxy that hates his memory. Or he can choose differently. He can step back from the abyss. He can help undo some of the damage he has caused. He can know his children not as enemies, but as family. Anakin's hands are shaking. He tries to hide it, crossing his arms, assuming a posture of control. But Luke can see the tremors, can feel the storm of emotion in the Force. The Emperor is at war with himself, and for the first time in decades, the outcome is uncertain. Luke presses forward. He talks about his childhood, the worlds he has seen, the training he has received from Obi-Wan. He describes growing up without knowing his heritage, always sensing that there was something more to his story, some piece of the puzzle that was being kept from him. He talks about how he felt when he finally learned the truth, the confusion and anger and grief, but also something else, hope. Because if his father was once a good man, maybe he could be again. He talks about his sister, Leia, who has become one of the rebellion's greatest leaders. He describes her fire, her determination, the way she refuses to accept defeat even when the odds seem impossible. She is so much like their mother, Luke says, and so much like what their father used to be. She deserves to know her family. She deserves more than an enemy. He talks about their mother, everything she sacrificed to protect them, how much she loved them until her final breath. And he tells Anakin what Padme said at the end. how she mourned the man she loved, even as she fought the monster he became. She never stopped believing that Anakin Skywalker was worth saving. She died still hoping that someday, somehow, he would find his way back to the light. The effect is devastating. Anakin's carefully maintained walls crumble as memories flood through, memories he has spent years trying to suppress. Padmé's smile, the touch of her hand, the way she believed in him when no one else did, and the look on her face when she finally understood what he had become, the horror and grief that destroyed the last of her hope. He sees her in his mind's eye, young and beautiful, and full of the idealism that first drew him to her. He remembers their secret wedding, the promises they made, the future they dreamed of together. 2 children, a family, a life that would matter for something other than war and power. He has buried these memories for so long, afraid of what they might do to him if he let them surface. Now they rise unbidden, and he cannot stop them. He sinks into a chair, suddenly looking old and tired and broken. He says that he doesn't know if he can turn back. He has done too much, become too much. The darkness is part of him now, woven into his very soul. To reject it would mean rejecting everything he has built, everything he has sacrificed. It would mean admitting that Padmé was right, and he was wrong. It would mean facing the full weight of guilt that he has spent 20 years avoiding. Luke kneels before him, looking up into those flickering eyes. He says that the question is not whether it would be hard. Of course it would be hard, perhaps the hardest thing anyone has ever done. The question is whether it would be right, and whether the boy from Tatooine, the slave who dreamed of freedom, the pilot who saved Naboo, the Jedi who loved too deeply, whether that person still exists somewhere beneath the Emperor's crown. The question hangs between them, a pivotal moment in galactic history. Everything depends on what happens next. The fate of trillions rests on the decision of one man, sitting in a throne room, looking at the son he never knew, wondering if redemption is possible. Anakin looks at Luke for a long time. His eyes search the young man's face, looking for deception, for manipulation, for any trace of the hatred that would be so justified. He finds none, only hope, only love, only the impossible offer of a second chance. His hand reaches toward his son's face, trembling slightly. For a heartbeat, Luke believes he has won. He believes that his father will take his hand and begin the long walk back to the light. He believes that everything his mother sacrificed was worth it, that the prophecy is finally being fulfilled. And then, the moment passes. Anakin's hand drops. His expression hardens, the mask sliding back into place. He rises from the chair and turns away, walking back toward his throne with steps that grow steadier with each stride. For a moment, Luke cannot believe what is happening. He felt the change, felt the crack in his father's defenses, felt the genuine consideration of a different path. It was there. It was real. And now it is gone, retreating behind walls of darkness as Anakin rebuilds his defenses. He speaks without looking at Luke. He says that the boy does not understand, cannot understand. The galaxy needs order, it needs strength. The chaos of the Republic, the weakness of the Jedi. These are what allowed Palpatine to rise. They are what would allow the next tyrant to rise. Someone must hold power firmly enough to prevent catastrophe. Someone must be willing to do what others cannot. The words are familiar, the same justifications Anakin has offered 1,000 times before. But there is something different in his voice now, a hollow quality that suggests even he no longer fully believes them. He is reciting doctrine rather than expressing conviction. retreating to comfortable lies because the truth is too painful to face. Luke rises slowly, refusing to accept defeat. He asks if that is really what this is about: order, security, or is it just that Anakin cannot bear to admit he was wrong, cannot face the guilt of what he has done? The darkness is easier than the light because it doesn't demand anything from him except power. The accusation strikes home. Anakin's hands clench at his sides. For a moment, the air in the throne room crackles with barely contained Force energy. The columns tremble. The floor vibrates. Luke feels the pressure building, the raw power of the Chosen One manifesting in the physical world. If Anakin loses control now, the explosion could level the entire palace. Then he releases a slow breath, and the pressure fades. The Emperor has spent 20 years mastering his emotions, controlling his power, ensuring that his rage serves him rather than consuming him. Even in this moment of crisis, that discipline holds. But the crack in his armor remains visible. Luke can see it, can feel it through the Force. His father's certainty has been shaken in a way that cannot be easily repaired. The questions Luke raised will not be silenced by a momentary reassertion of control. They will echo through Anakin's mind for days, weeks, years. They will haunt him in his quiet moments, when the distractions of Empire fall away, and he is left alone with his thoughts. Anakin turns back to face his son, and Luke sees something he did not expect. Not anger, not hatred, not the cold dismissal of a tyrant confronting a threat. What he sees is pain. Raw, undisguised pain that breaks through the Emperor's mask, despite his best efforts to hide it. He tells Luke to go, to return to his rebellion, his hopeless cause, his fading dream. He says that he will not harm his son today, out of respect for what Padme would have wanted. Her memory, even now, even after everything, still holds power over him. She is the one ghost he cannot exorcise, the one wound that never heals. But the next time they meet, he continues, his voice hardening with each word. There will be no mercy. The Empire will endure. The Chosen One will reign, and those who oppose him will fall, family or not. These are not threats, they are promises. Anakin Skywalker has spent 20 years keeping his promises, and he will not stop now. The words are meant to wound, to create distance, to rebuild the walls that Luke's presence has damaged, but they lack the conviction that would make them truly devastating. Anakin sounds like a man reciting lines from a script, playing a role that no longer fits as comfortably as it once did. Luke rises slowly, his expression showing none of the defeat that his father probably expects. He looks at the Emperor with something that might be sorrow, might be pity, might be hope, deferred but not abandoned. He says that he will not give up. As long as there is conflict within Anakin, as long as the boy from Tatooine still exists somewhere beneath the Emperor's crown, Luke will keep trying. He speaks of his mother one last time. Padme never gave up, he says. Even when everyone else told her that Anakin was lost forever, she kept hoping. She died, still believing that redemption was possible. Luke intends to honor that belief. He intends to prove that his mother's faith was not misplaced. That is the difference between them, he concludes. Anakin sought balance through control. Luke seeks it through connection. One of them will be proven right. And Luke knows which one his mother would have wanted him to be. The words hang in the air, a final challenge that demands no response. Luke has said everything he came to say. He has offered forgiveness without condition, hope without guarantee, love without expectation. The rest is up to his father. He turns and walks toward the door. No guards try to stop him. No chosen appear to bar his way. The Emperor watches him go, his face unreadable, his presence in the Force a maelstrom of conflicting emotions that even the most skilled observer could not fully parse. Luke walks slowly, giving his father every opportunity to call him back. Every step is an invitation, a chance for Anakin to change his mind, to reach out, to accept what is being offered. The distance between them stretches, 10 meters, 20, 30. The throne room doors loom ahead, massive portals that will close this chapter of their story, one way or another. Anakin says nothing. The doors swing open at Luke's approach, responding to the Force as all things in this palace do. Beyond them, the corridor stretches away, lined with guards and chosen, who watch the young Jedi with expressions ranging from confusion to hostility. None of them understand what has just happened. None of them know that the foundations of the Empire have been shaken in a way that mere military force could never achieve. Luke steps through the doors and pauses at the threshold. He turns back one final time, looking across the vast chamber at the figure on the throne. Father and son, separated by distance and darkness, and 20 years of choices that can never be unmade. Then the doors close, and they are separated by something more substantial than mere architecture. The massive doors open, and Luke steps through. He walks back through the corridors of the palace, past the startled guards, past the confused courtiers, past all the machinery of imperial power. No one stops him. The Emperor has given no orders, and without orders, no one dares to act. His path back to the entrance seems shorter than his path in, though the distance is exactly the same. The guards who escorted him here are nowhere to be seen, probably confused about their orders, uncertain what to do with a prisoner who was never officially processed. Luke walks past them without acknowledgement, his mind still in the throne room, still replaying every word of the conversation he just had. He felt it. He knows he felt it. The moment when his father's defenses cracked, when the man beneath the Emperor's mask looked out at him with something other than cold calculation. It was brief, almost infinitesimal, but it was real. The seed has been planted. Whether it grows into something more depends on factors Luke cannot control. Outside the palace, the Coruscant afternoon blazes with artificial light. The city continues its endless activity, billions of beings going about their daily lives, utterly unaware that the fate of the galaxy may have just been decided in a conversation between two men. Luke moves through the crowds with the same anonymity he maintained on his journey here. Another face in the endless flow of bodies. By the time Anakin thinks to issue a command, Luke is already gone. His ship breaks atmosphere and jumps to hyperspace before pursuit can be organized. The Emperor stands alone in his throne room, staring at the empty doorway, wrestling with demons no one else can see. The silence stretches. Minutes pass, then hours. The courtiers who usually fill the throne room with business and ceremony wait outside, sensing that something has changed, but unsure what it means. The chosen exchange glances, wondering if this is the moment they have secretly anticipated, the moment when the Emperor's grip finally falters. But the moment does not come. Eventually, the doors open, and Anakin emerges with his mask firmly in place. He issues commands with his usual authority, makes decisions with his usual speed, presents the face of absolute control that the Empire requires. Whatever storm rages within him, he keeps it hidden from view. Only in private, in the depths of night, does he allow himself to remember his son's face, his son's voice, the impossible offer that still echoes through his thoughts like a song he cannot forget. Forgiveness. The word haunts him. It is so simple, so small, and yet it contains everything he has spent 20 years running from. To accept forgiveness would mean accepting guilt. To accept guilt would mean acknowledging that everything he has done was wrong. And to acknowledge that would mean facing a truth so devastating that he has built an empire to avoid it. He is a monster. He knows this now, has always known it on some level, though he has wrapped the knowledge in layers of justification and necessity. The children in the temple, the friends he betrayed, the wife whose heart he broke, the galaxy he has crushed beneath his heel. All of it is monstrous, and all of it is his responsibility. The darkness whispers that monsters cannot be redeemed, that the stain on his soul is permanent, indelible, eternal, that he might as well embrace what he is, since there is no escaping it. But another voice whispers something different. A voice that sounds like his mother, like Padme, like the boy he used to be. It whispers that redemption is always possible, that the past does not have to define the future, that even the darkest night eventually gives way to dawn. Anakin does not know which voice to believe. After 20 years of certainty, he finds himself uncertain about everything. The foundations of his life have been shaken, and he does not know if they can ever be stable again. He tells Luke to go, to return to his rebellion, his hopeless cause, his fading dream. He says that he will not harm his son today, out of respect for what Padme would have wanted. But the next time they meet, there will be no mercy. The Empire will endure, the Chosen One will reign, and those who oppose him will fall, family or not. The words are final, absolute, leaving no room for further debate. But Luke has not come all this way to give up so easily. He stands his ground, meeting his father's gaze with quiet determination. He says that he heard the doubt in his father's voice. He felt the moment of hesitation, the consideration of a different path. That hesitation is important. It means the choice has not yet been made. It means that somewhere, beneath the Emperor's certainty, Anakin Skywalker is still fighting. Luke rises slowly. He looks at his father with an expression that might be sorrow, might be pity, might be hope, deferred but not abandoned. He says that he will not give up. As long as there is conflict within Anakin, as long as the boy from Tatooine still exists somewhere beneath the Emperor's crown, Luke will keep trying. That is the difference between them. Anakin sought balance through control. Luke seeks it through connection. One of them will be proven right. The words hang in the air between them, a promise and a challenge. Anakin does not respond. He cannot respond, because to respond would be to acknowledge that the conversation has affected him, that Luke's words found their target, that the certainty he has cultivated for 20 years is not as absolute as he pretends. Luke waits for a moment longer, giving his father one last chance to speak. When the silence stretches on, he nods slowly, accepting the outcome without surrendering his hope. Sometimes the seeds of change take time to grow. Sometimes the first conversation only opens the door for the second, and the second for the third. He has planted something in his father's heart today. Whether it will flourish or wither remains to be seen. He turns and walks toward the door. No guards try to stop him. No chosen appear to bar his way. The Emperor watches him go, his face unreadable, his presence in the Force a maelstrom of conflicting emotions. The massive doors open, and Luke steps through. He walks back through the corridors of the palace, past the startled guards, past the confused courtiers, past all the machinery of imperial power. The whispers begin immediately, speculation about what happened in the throne room, why the prisoner was released, what it means for the Empire's future. Luke ignores them all, focused on reaching his ship before anyone decides to stop him. No one stops him. The Emperor has given no orders, and without orders, no one dares to act. The machinery of absolute power has a weakness. It requires a central authority to function. When that authority hesitates, even momentarily, the entire structure hesitates with it. By the time Anakin thinks to issue a command, Luke is already gone. His ship breaks atmosphere and jumps to hyperspace before pursuit can be organized. The Emperor stands alone in his throne room, staring at the empty doorway, wrestling with demons no one else can see. The days that follow are different. The Emperor's decisions become erratic, his temper unpredictable. He cancels meetings without explanation. He wanders the palace at night, visiting rooms he has not entered in years. He pulls up old records, hollows of Padme, recordings of his time as a Jedi, memories of a life he thought he had left behind. The court notices the change immediately. Courtiers who have spent years learning to read the Emperor's moods find themselves suddenly unable to predict him. Decisions that should take moments stretch into hours of silent contemplation. Orders that would normally be delivered with iron certainty now come with hesitation, qualification, doubt. The machinery of empire continues to function, but its heart is wavering. The chosen are particularly unsettled. They have built their entire existence around serving the Emperor, around channeling their dark side powers in service to his vision. If that vision is changing, if their master is losing his certainty, what does that mean for them? Some begin making contingency plans, reaching out to potential allies, preparing for a power struggle that may be inevitable. Others double down on their loyalty, hoping that increased devotion will be rewarded when the crisis passes. In the small hours of the morning, when the palace is silent and even the most dedicated courtiers have gone to sleep, Anakin sits in his private chambers and confronts the questions his son raised. He watches hollows of himself from the Clone Wars, seeing a young man full of passion and purpose, fighting for something he believed in. He reads old letters from Padme, messages of love and hope that he saved despite everything. He meditates on the Force, reaching out to touch the currents that flow through all living things, and feels the darkness within him stir uneasily. The memories come unbidden. His mother's face, Qui-Gon's belief in him, Obi-Wan's steady presence through years of training and battle, Ahsoka's loyalty and eventual departure, and Padme, always Padme, the center around which his entire life once revolved. He sees them all, the people who loved him, the people he loved, the people he destroyed or drove away in his pursuit of power. He remembers specific moments with painful clarity. The day he met Padme, when he thought she was an angel descended from the moons of Yago. The first time he flew in combat, the thrill of speed and danger that made him feel truly alive. The moment Obi-Wan knighted him, the pride in his master's eyes that meant more than any formal ceremony. The day Ahsoka was expelled from the Order, his helpless rage at the injustice of it all. He remembers the darker moments too, his mother's death in his arms, the fury that drove him to slaughter an entire tribe of Sand People, the nightmares about Padme that consumed his final months as a Jedi, the moment in the Chancellor's office when he made the choice that defined everything after. Each memory carries weight, evidence that he was once something other than what he has become. Was it worth it? The question echoes through his thoughts, impossible to silence. He has everything a man could want: wealth, power, an empire that spans the galaxy, and he would trade it all, every credit and every world, for one more day with the people he lost. But that trade is not possible. The past cannot be changed. The dead cannot be brought back. All that remains is the future, stretching out before him like an endless corridor of dark marble, leading nowhere he wants to go. He tries to meditate, to find the peace that once came so easily when he reached into the Force. But the darkness resists, unwilling to release its hold after 20 years of dominion. It whispers of threats, of enemies, of the weakness that doubt represents. It reminds him of everyone who would destroy him if given the chance, of the chaos that would engulf the galaxy if his grip weakened. It promises that the emptiness he feels is temporary, that more power will fill it, that absolute control is the only answer. But the whispers ring hollow now. He has heard them for 2 decades, and they have never delivered on their promises. The more power he accumulated, the emptier he became. The more control he exercised, the less he felt in control of anything that mattered. The darkness lied, and he was fool enough to believe it. The alternative terrifies him even more than the emptiness. To step back from the path he has walked, to admit that he was wrong, to face the enormity of what he has done. These things require a courage that absolute power has never provided. It is easier to rule a galaxy than to look honestly at the man in the mirror. The chosen notice the change and whisper among themselves. Is the Emperor weakening? Is this an opportunity? But none dare move against him. His power is still absolute, his anger still terrifying. Whatever internal struggle he faces, it has not diminished his ability to destroy anyone who challenges him. Some of the chosen secretly welcome the uncertainty. They have grown tired of serving, tired of channeling their ambitions into another's vision. If the Emperor falls, they reason, someone will need to take his place. Why not them? Small conspiracies begin to form, alliances of convenience between dark side practitioners who share nothing except hunger for power. Others remain loyal out of genuine devotion. They believe in what the Emperor represents, in the vision of balance he articulated when they joined his cause. If he is struggling now, they will help him through. If he is being tested, they will prove themselves worthy. Their loyalty is a weapon, and they will wield it against any who threaten their master. The rebellion notices too. Luke's report of his meeting with the Emperor spreads through the leadership, inspiring some and terrifying others. Bail Organa worries that the Emperor will become even more dangerous as he grapples with his guilt. A wounded predator is more dangerous than a confident one, and Anakin Skywalker has never been more wounded than he is now. Leia wants to press the advantage, to strike while their enemy is distracted. She has spent her entire life fighting the Empire, has seen friends and comrades die in the struggle, has sacrificed everything for the chance to bring down the tyranny her father created. If there is an opportunity now, they should seize it with both hands. Mon Mothma counsels patience, arguing that a civil war among the Imperials would serve them better than any attack. If the chosen turn on each other, if the military fragments into competing factions, the Empire might tear itself apart without the rebellion lifting a finger. The wisest strategy is often to let your enemies destroy themselves. The debate continues for weeks, neither side able to convince the other. Meanwhile, Luke trains with renewed intensity, preparing for a confrontation he knows is inevitable. His sister joins him when her duties permit, the twins practicing lightsaber forms and force techniques together. Their combined power is remarkable, greater than either could achieve alone, a testament to the potential that their father never had the chance to realize. And across the galaxy, ordinary people continue to live under Imperial rule. They do not know about the confrontation in the throne room. They do not care about prophecies or chosen ones, or the internal struggles of emperors. They simply endure, hoping that tomorrow will be better than today, that someday the darkness will pass and light will return. On 1,000 worlds they go about their daily lives. Farmers tend crops that feed imperial soldiers. Workers build ships that enforce imperial law. Families raise children who will grow up knowing nothing except imperial rule. The machine grinds on, indifferent to the doubts of its master, sustained by the momentum of 20 years of absolute control. But even among the ordinary people, something is changing. Whispers spread through markets and cantinas, rumors of a young Jedi who walked into the Emperor's palace and walked out again. Some say he was captured and secretly executed. Others claim he escaped through feats of impossible Force magic. A few, speaking in whispers so quiet they can barely be heard, suggest that he went there to speak with his father, and that the conversation shook the foundations of the Empire. The Emperor sits alone on his throne as the Coruscant night deepens. The cityscape stretches before him, endless lights in endless towers, trillions of lives shaped by his will. He has achieved more than any being in galactic history. He has brought order to chaos, strength to weakness, unity to division. His name will echo through eternity, and he has never felt more empty. The throne room is dark, lit only by the glow of the city beyond the windows. Anakin has dismissed his guards, his servants, his advisors. He wants to be alone with his thoughts, with the questions that will not stop circling through his mind. The silence is absolute, broken only by the distant hum of the city's endless activity. He thinks of his son, walking through those doors with nothing but courage and hope. He thinks of the offer of forgiveness, extended without condition or expectation. He thinks of the look in Luke's eyes, the same look that Padme used to give him, the look that said she believed in him even when he didn't believe in himself. Luke's words replay in his mind over and over, an endless loop of questions he cannot answer. Is this what the boy from Tatooine dreamed of? Is this what freedom looks like? Is there any path back from where he has gone? The questions are simple. The answers are not. He does not know. After 20 years of certainty, of absolute conviction in the rightness of his cause, Anakin Skywalker faces something he has not felt since childhood: doubt. The darkness whispers that doubt is weakness. The darkness promises that power will fill every void, answer every question, silence every doubt. The darkness has been his companion for 2 decades, and it will not release him easily. But there is another voice now, fainter, older, the voice of a slave boy who looked at the stars and dared to dream of freedom, the voice of a Padawan who loved his master like a father, the voice of a husband who would have burned the galaxy to save his wife. That voice asks a simple question: is it too late? The question haunts him through the long night. He reviews his life, every choice that led him here, every fork in the road where he might have chosen differently. What if he had stayed on Tatooine? What if he had never been found by Qui-Gon? What if he had heeded the warnings of the Jedi Council, had suppressed his feelings for Padme, had accepted the limitations that the Order demanded? What if he had let Windu kill Palpatine, had returned to being simply a Jedi Knight, had raised his children in peace? The alternative lives stretch out before him, possibilities that can never be realized. In some of them, he is happy. In some, he is miserable. In all of them, he is different from what he has become. The man sitting on this throne is the product of specific choices, specific moments, specific failures of wisdom and courage. He could have been someone else. He could have been better. But he made his choices, and the choices made him. The question is not whether he can undo the past. It is whether he can build a different future. Anakin has no answer. The conflict within him continues. Light against darkness, hope against despair. The man he was against the monster he has become. He sits alone on his throne, surrounded by power, ruling a galaxy, and he does not know who he is anymore. The rebellion grows stronger in the shadows. Luke and Leia train together now, brother and sister united in purpose. Their combined power, a beacon of hope that draws others to the cause. Obi-Wan, old and tired but unbroken, watches his students with pride and grief, knowing that the confrontation he has always feared draws near. The old master has lived long enough to see the galaxy change many times over. He remembers the Republic before the war, the idealism and the corruption that existed side by side. He remembers the Clone Wars, the hope and the horror, the friends he lost and the victories he won. He remembers Anakin as he was, brilliant and flawed and achingly human. And he sees Luke now, carrying the same potential, facing the same temptations, hopefully equipped to make better choices. If there is one thing Obi-Wan has learned in his long life, it is that the future is never certain. Prophecies can be misread. Destinies can be changed. The Force flows according to patterns that even the wisest cannot fully comprehend. Perhaps the Chosen One's role is not yet complete. Perhaps redemption remains possible, even now, even after everything. He meditates on this possibility as his students train, reaching out through the Force toward the distant presence of his former apprentice. The darkness is there, yes, but so is something else. A flicker of light that was not visible before. A crack in the armor that Anakin has built around his heart. Perhaps Luke's journey was not in vain. Perhaps the offer of forgiveness planted a seed that will one day flower into something new. Perhaps the boy from Tatooine still exists somewhere beneath the Emperor's crown, waiting for the chance to reclaim what he has lost. Obi-Wan allows himself, for the first time in 20 years, to hope. Somewhere in the vastness of space, forces are gathering. The Empire's grip weakens with each passing year, not through military defeat, but through moral erosion. Soldiers desert, officials defect. Systems that once bowed now merely pretend to bow, waiting for the right moment to throw off their chains. The rebellion grows from a nuisance into a genuine threat. Ships that once numbered in dozens now number in hundreds. Soldiers that once fought in isolated cells now coordinate across entire sectors. The leadership that once hid in shadowy bases now speaks openly of a future without the Empire, a restored republic that will learn from the mistakes of the past. And at the center of it all, sitting on a throne he built with blood and betrayal, the Chosen One stares into the darkness and wonders if the prophecy ever meant anything at all. Perhaps it did. Perhaps the balance he was meant to bring was never about destroying the Sith or reforming the Jedi. Perhaps it was always about this moment, this choice, this war within himself that mirrors the war without. The prophecy spoke of one who would bring balance to the Force. For 20 years, Anakin believed that meant establishing order through power, controlling both light and darkness rather than being controlled by either. But perhaps he was wrong. Perhaps balance cannot be imposed from without. Perhaps it must be chosen from within. His son offered him that choice. Not the choice of power, not the choice of dominion, but the choice of redemption. The chance to step back from the abyss he has spent 2 decades falling into. The opportunity to become something other than what the darkness has made him. Perhaps there is still time. Perhaps there is still hope. The galaxy turns beneath him, billions of lives shaped by his will. The Chosen One sits upon his throne, having brought his version of balance to the Force. Order reigns. Chaos is contained. The Empire endures. And Anakin Skywalker, who once dreamed of freeing slaves and saving everyone he loved, stares into the darkness and wonders if any of it was worth the price. The answer, he begins to suspect, is no. Nothing he has built is worth what he has lost. No amount of power can compensate for the emptiness that consumes him. No throne, however magnificent, can replace the family he destroyed. But knowing this and acting on it are different things. The darkness still holds him, still whispers its promises and threats. The empire he built requires constant attention, constant vigilance, constant exercise of the power that has become his identity. To step away from all of this, to become something other than the Emperor, seems impossible. And yet, his son walked into this palace believing that the impossible was possible. His son offered forgiveness without condition, without expectation of success. His son demonstrated a courage that Anakin has not possessed since he was a slave boy dreaming of the stars. If Luke can believe in redemption, perhaps Anakin can learn to believe in it too. The thought is fragile, easily crushed by the weight of everything he has done. But it exists now, a possibility that was not there before. A door that his son opened, however slightly, through nothing more than the willingness to try. The rebellion continues in the shadows. Luke and Leia grow stronger. Allies gather. Hope endures. Somewhere, somehow, the light refuses to die. And as long as that light exists, the story is not over. The boy from Tatooine made his choice. But the future remains unwritten. Perhaps one day, another choice will be possible. Perhaps one day, the father will find his way back to his children. Or perhaps the darkness will claim him completely, and the galaxy will forget that Anakin Skywalker ever existed, remembering only the Emperor who built his throne on the ashes of everything he once loved. The Force swirls around the throne room, light and darkness in eternal dance. The Chosen One sits at its center, the fulcrum around which the galaxy's fate will turn. 20 years of darkness have brought him to this moment. What he does next will determine whether the next 20 years bring more of the same, or something entirely different. The choice, as it has always been, is his. Only time will tell. Only the Force knows for certain. And the Force, as always, remains silent, waiting, watching, and perhaps, just perhaps, hoping. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.